Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Progressive Discussions. I'm your host, James P. Madonna. As seen on the web since 2007, I've been doing this. I just want to welcome everyone to our new time slot. We switched days to see how it goes. We were doing shows Saturdays starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Now we are trying it on Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time for specific reasons. I had a private business meeting with my right-hand man and co-host who will be joining us later after he has his Thursday night dinner with his family. And here he is now. Well, I mean, here he is in commentary to say hello. And this is the gentleman that will be co-hosting the show with me, Mr. Jason Cleveland of Seattle, Washington. How was the traffic coming home, or did you get home? Oh, Oh, you're not free for the whole show after dinner? Okay. Okay. I will. Well, I can stay on until around 7 p.m. or so my time, which is 10 p.m. your time. Okay. All right, let me bring up the first video with Jesse Ventura. I'm going to dedicate this particular show to Jesse Ventura because somebody lit a fire under his ass because he is all enthusiastic, and it seems like he wants to get back into the political game. And I have a few of his recent videos. Okay, very well. Bear with me, folks, if anybody's watching. Bear with me. I know I always say that. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. There we go. There's a little screen share.
Governor Jesse Ventura here for Die First, Then Quit. P.T. Barnum made a statement many, many years ago. He said there's a sucker born every day. Well, guess what? P.T. Barnum was wrong. He was dead wrong. You know what he was wrong at? He forgot to make it plural. It ain't a sucker born every day, it's suckers, meaning more than one. And who I'm talking about today are people giving money to Donald Trump. People pouring in money to this guy as he asks for it just from threatening to be indicted. People sent him $1.3 million so he can defend himself against 3 or 4 other trials he's got looming on the horizon. You know, it isn't out to get Trump week. People don't go out to get people generally unless they've done something in the first place. You have to have done something to be allowed to be gotten. All you people that send money to Donald Trump, this guy's supposedly a billionaire. Now, do we know that for sure? No, because he doesn't file tax returns. So there's no real way to know what his actual wealth is. But he brags about it. He tells us he's a billionaire. Why would he need money from you? Why would a billionaire need you working class blue collar people out there to send him money you could use right now to fight inflation, money you could use for health care, money you could use to put food on the table, but you think it's more important to send Donald Trump your money thinking he's somehow fighting for you? I got news for you. Donald Trump only fights for himself. He doesn't fight for anybody else. And when he stands up there and gives those speeches like he does, that he's all there for you, that stinks. He isn't there for anyone but Donald J. Trump. But like I said, P.T. Barnum was damn sure right. P.T. just didn't make it plural.
Okay, Jesse Ventura video number 1, and now we will go to the next on this week's Progressive Discussions. Okay, next would be, all right, I'll try this one. This one should be pretty good. Hold on. Before I go to the next number 2, second Jesse Ventura video, which is really good. Good morning, Masumi, from outside of Tokyo, Japan. Good morning to you and happy Friday. It is now 10:15 a.m. Friday in Japan. Friday, you should have tempura on Friday because it's called Friday. So you should have fried food. Anyway, good morning to you, Masumi, and welcome. All right, back at the ranch. Bear with me. I know, I always say that, right? I always say bear with me. Okay, this will be a real good one.
The people of Minnesota won't be able to shock the world again. We won't be on the cover of Time magazine and Newsweek for an election when I shocked the world. Because guess what? If this rule would have been in place, I couldn't have won. I was polling 8 to 9% at the primary. Because I had major party status through the Independence Party and my colleague Dean Barkley at 5%, I was allowed in the debates. I showed that within 6 to 7 weeks, you could go from single digits to becoming the governor of Minnesota.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members.
All right, we are moving on to Senate File 1361. Senator Carlson, you are up again.
And now they do something like this against democracy. I mean, what, I could not have been elected governor if this rule would have been in place, what they just did. All I'll say is this, if I do decide to do it, the Libertarian's gonna stick with me.
So why we're here today is we're here to try to get a bill tabled, and this is a bill that wants to suppress voter choice. And
Greetings, Jason Cleveland from Seattle, Washington has just joined us, my co-host. How are you this evening?
Good evening, James. Can you hear me?
Yeah, let me turn up the volume. It's a little low, but check your volume.
I have a new headset, so we're trying that out this evening. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Check your mic volume to make sure it's cranked up. But I nevertheless I can hear you. I'm gonna go back to the video because he's really on fire, just like Bernie Sanders is on fire.
Minnesota,
James,
and also kill all the other parties other than.
Yeah.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yes,
Go on
yes,
mute.
it is. All right.
The two major legacy parties. They don't want emerging parties to be able to build momentum and get elected, so they're doing everything they can to kill them off. So we have a coalition of over 5 emerging parties in Minnesota. Some of them have minor party, some of them are still just in formation, and some of them were either major or minor parties, and now they're coming back to that status. But we're all really united in the idea that more choice on the ballot for our voters is better for our state. I want them to table this bill. They need to table it.
It is Tuesday, March 14th.
I'm here representing these 601,760 Minnesotans currently represented by a third-party elected official at the local level. Currently, the 5% threshold is too high. The median across the U.S. is 2%, which means Minnesota is wildly discriminatory towards emerging political parties.
And people shouldn't be limited to just 2 choices. As consumers, we should have the ability to choose between more than just Target or Walmart, Coke or Pepsi, Home Depot or Lowe's. And as voters, we deserve to be able to vote for more than just the GOP or the DFL.
I'm going to address the memo submitted by DFL Chair Ken Martin. Mr. Martin stated there were 19 states with major and minor party status and stressed Minnesota was near the bottom of the requirements for it qualify as a major party. But what he did not tell you is the difference between major and minor party in those states is how the candidates are nominated, either through a primary or through a convention. The part he forgot is that minor parties in those states have ballot access. The chair seems to want us to be like Colorado and Texas. Ballot access for those states are at 1% and 2% respectively. Your terms are acceptable.
The explanation was to get rid of the spoilers, and this is the wrong tool to do this. Ranked choice voting is the right tool to get rid of the spoilers, not banning third parties from participating in the elections. That's what this bill does. It raises the bar and eliminates all the effects of the ranked choice voting bill. So if that were to get passed and this were to get passed as well, then we would completely negate the issues of allowing third parties and more voices in government.
As a Democrat and as a member of the DFL, I believe that everyone deserves a seat at the table. Furthermore, it is from these third parties that we're giving insights into alternative strategies and options. It appears that the DFL has lost its way when it resorts to such legislation as this when they feel their power threatened.
This news, there is a terrible misunderstanding reflected in the letter from Ken Martin.
Well, I must say that the American voter most definitely deserves more options besides the 2 major paid off in bed with the oligarch political parties, Democrats and Republicans. People have a right to hear and learn of third-party candidates, and the American voter has a right to choose whom they want to vote for, not to only have column A and column B. You know, going from the frying pan into the furnace. A vulture with different colored feathers on each wing, one wing being red and the other wing, the left wing, being blue. Okay, guess what? It's still a vulture. I know about the lesser of the 2 evils, but I think Americans are sick and tired of just settling for the lesser of 2 evils, which is still evil. Now, getting back to Mr. Jason Cleveland, it's been a long time.
Hello, James. It's been a long time.
Thank you for being my co-host.
Of course.
A blast from the past, and you're here, and it made a lot of sense. I mean, they're fighting for Americans' right to get to know all the candidates, or even if it's the Dingleberry Party. If you can, if you have enough behind you to get on the ballot, Americans should get accustomed to everyone who has a chance, not just the two corporate whore parties, the Democrats and the Republicans. Hey, Bart Robinson, greetings, sir. Great to see you. Is right. All we need is Tommy Carroll.
Now, Bart, you are in dairy country in New Jersey, is that correct?
Yeah, he's southwestern, going towards Philly.
Is that where they came up with the term the Jersey herd from New Jersey, the cows that were raised in Jersey?
Well, the only cow species I have memorized is the Holstein cow. I mean,
Holstein. Don't you have Angus?
Well, yeah. Well, you have to have a female. You have to have a cow. Otherwise, they can't breed. They can't reproduce. But I enjoy Angus beef constantly. You know, I get the grass-fed, no antibiotics, no hormones, black Angus, and but I don't know about the milk production of the female Angus. I really don't. What does it say here? You are so Jason. Well, why, he looks like a Jason? Is that why you're saying he's so
No,
Jason?
I think Bart said, good evening, everyone. I said, hello, Bart. Great to see you. He says, you also, that is, like, to see you also.
You know, I don't understand, Bart Robinson, why they don't expand the goat dairy farming, like California. There's a company. There's not many around. There's a company that sells goat milk called Meyenberg, and they use these big white French goats that are popular for milk production, and of course goat cheese. Excuse me. And the good thing about goat's milk is people that are lactose intolerant to cow's milk have no problem consuming goat's milk. I don't understand why they don't have more goat dairy farms. Like I think New Jersey should start. You know,
My goodness, you bring up a good point, James. I would say that, you know, you see on menus pretty frequently, goat cheese pizza is pretty popular, right?
I goat cheese is unbelievable. It's pricey, but it tastes so damn good. And you know, so the milk tastes better than cow's milk, and it's more digestible. I mean, like I said, lactose intolerant people can consume goat. So, you know.
You bring up a good point too, James. Do you think, I mean, let's maybe rewind back to your childhood.
Tommy Carroll.
There he is. There he is.
I was just mentioning, but yes, I believe there are many hybrids out there. Yes, I believe.
Well, what's interesting, maybe just staying on the aliens topic before I go to my next thing I was thinking of, is that the U.S. government, you know, if you recall, when was it, James? 2 months ago, I know time flies, that the spy balloon was kind of making its way across the country, and that was pretty big headlines, right?
F-troop, it is balloon.
Right, and everybody was saying, shoot it down, and the government said, well, if we shot it down, it'd be too dangerous because the debris and all this other stuff. So I think the thing got like off the coast of South Carolina or something like that.
Why did they why did they let it travel so far? You know what happened? First of all, my friend from mainland China says, you Americans are funny. You crack us up over here. You're so paranoid over a balloon. You're so afraid of a balloon. I says, well, if it's a spy balloon, she says, well, it could be weather balloon or it could be a spy balloon. It's still a balloon. I says, yeah,
It's
but
true.
the balloon went over a very important military base in Montana and an area, I don't want to mention it, you know, communicating with mainland China, but that there are intercontinental ballistic missiles being stored as
Yes,
part
for national defense, correct.
as part of this military base, and this balloon just so happened to go over that area.
But the balloon, because it was unmanned and uncontrolled, effectively, the balloon was just blowing with the atmosphere. It had no control whatsoever, right? Maybe it was coincidence that it went over that. But I guess what I was going with this is, Tommy, aliens, right? Recently, maybe as recent as when they announced that there was the spy balloon going overhead, you know, if you recall, the government had shot down some other what they call unidentified flying objects, and in one of them was actually in Canadian airspace, and the U.S. Air Force was mobilized. I think there was another one, James, I think somewhere in Michigan. But the government is finally starting to at least confess that yes, there is, or there are things out there that we don't know what they are. You know, for the longest time, if you look at what happened in Roswell, New Mexico, Area 51, there's almost too many coincidences now of, I don't know, strange behavior to at least not you know, to think that something else has to exist out there, right?
Yeah, yeah, of course. I mean, they're seeing now. It's not just a distant, blurry UFO. And now they're super clear. Everybody has the high definition video capabilities with their phones, and they have been spotted all over the world in massive amounts. I mean, I watched a show called Paranormal Caught on Camera, and they showed this Russian man, and believe it or not, they send their videos to this show, and he was viewing the moon, a full moon, and there were dozens of UFOs traveling in unison, and like the whole between his camera and the moon. I mean, you could see it with the moon in the background. They were all over the place, like ants.
Yes.
And you know, and I believe they've been visiting Earth for thousands of years, and I believe they were involved in the construction of these ancient cities, ancient civilization cities, because mankind did not have the technology to lift a block that weighed many tons that high off the ground and stack it so perfectly where you can't even get a razor blade in between the blocks. I mean, mankind did not, they were too primitive. There was no way that slave labor could accomplish it. And even engineers today say that they would have a lot of trouble duplicating that construction. So the alien civilizations, were they responsible for building it? Did they use like anti-gravity equipment to levitate these blocks? I believe so. You know, I believe so. And
I mean, you look at least two examples exist. Certainly the Great Pyramids in Egypt, right? And then the Stonehenge in Scotland,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Well, northern England,
All right, yeah, far northern England, maybe southern Scotland, northern England, but yeah, it's kind of crazy times we're living in. Tommy Carroll, yeah, I don't know. If you look at whatever happened with the spy balloon, The thing is, the American public has such a short attention span for anything, to be honest with you. It's in the news and out of the news. People forget about it, right? There's too much stuff going
You
on.
mean aside from the average American being dumber than a bag of rocks, they have a very short attention span.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah.
You know, there's something, James, I'm not sure if you've heard of it, but it's called the imposter syndrome. Have you heard of that before? Are you familiar with it?
No, does it have to do with people putting up a facade and hiding their true personality?
No, it's actually, let's say you were to do a job, any job, there's always going to be somebody better than you. I think that's a given, right? There's always going to be.
Even in Hollywood, I mean, these stars were manufactured. You think any one movie star or actor or model is the only one with talent and is
correct
kind? I'm sure there are like tens of thousands of replacements for everybody.
Oh, for sure.
Who's famous? Yeah. There's always going to be someone better in every way.
But the imposter syndrome, essentially, you can let doubt creep into your mind. Like, why am I doing this job? Right? Like, I don't feel like I'm smart enough or fit enough or whatever. Take whatever adjective you want to use.
Yeah.
And when that starts creeping in and kind of harboring and festering inside your mental capacity, it's kind of a dangerous thing, right? So I guess the long story short of it is that, you know, you are where you are for a reason. Trust yourself, trust your judgment, trust your ability. Because I think too often, too many people, they doubt themselves, and that's what's really holding them back. You know, a bit about what you said, you know, if you were to take one of the, of course it's all subjective, but some of the greatest actors in the history of filmmaking, right? Like Robert De Niro, would probably ring true to most people to say, wait, who do you think is a really good actor? Like Robert De Niro, right? Well, how did he get his big break, you know? And who's to say that there was a guy better than him that just didn't have the connections or didn't show up to the meeting on time? You know, you start to think about things like that, right? Life is full of these intersections, and if you hit the intersection at the right time, things will go great for you. But if not, then it's a different path that you take. You know, it's a bit interesting to start thinking about it that way.
You know, the actors that you mentioned, Robert De Niro,
Clint Eastwood, or
Clint Eastwood. The other one,
Charles Bronson.
Well, many of them,
DiCaprio,
are like. Well, I was referring to the ones that are more like character actors that have became big superstars, movie stars. You know, they have a character actor image.
Like Luke Wilson.
Yeah.
Kind of plays the same goofy guy the whole time and makes
in other words,
piles of money.
They're typecast.
Correct.
Al Pacino, you know, he has a certain, he has a certain image. He's typecast in some ways, but he does play other parts. You know, like he played Satan with what was that?
Keanu. The Devil's Advocate.
Yeah, with
right?
was that Keanu Reeves, right?
The Devil's Advocate. That's a fantastic movie.
I enjoyed that. Yeah, I enjoyed that. The woman was the redhead.
Oh, the redhead. Yes, I was thinking Charlize Theron played Keanu Reeves' wife, but the redhead in that movie, yes, with the. I don't need to say anything. No. It's spectacular.
Okay, before we get ferocious with what happened with what I watched, Bernie Sanders and other United States senators questioning the CEO of Starbucks.
All that.
Yeah.
Maybe let me just tell you one thing really quick, right, for the viewers. So Howard Schultz, CEO of Starbucks, many years ago, had recently just returned as interim CEO. But this guy, I mean, he's extremely wealthy, and he's a Seattle guy too.
Yeah.
And he owned at one point in time the National Basketball Association, the NBA team, the Seattle Sonics.
Yeah, the Supersonics, and they
The
moved. The
Supersonics.
bastards moved them.
And there was a guy, the name will come to me, but Bennett, I think was his name. He's out of Oklahoma. He purchased a team. He's like, he flat out said, I am not going to move the team. Like big press conference, right? Everybody, that's great. And then behind the scenes, he's building this big arena. And then all of a sudden, like, boom, the Sonics move to Oklahoma City. They become the Oklahoma City Thunder, and we lose our basketball team. And this guy, so people in Seattle, especially because he betrayed the city, people hate this guy. So I love to see, and you're probably going to play a clip or talk about it, but I just wanted to give my 2 cents. People around here hate this guy. This guy is a cancer. People don't trust him. You seriously, this guy, and the fact that all these people around here want to unionize
Well,
to get a better life.
I do have my take on what I noticed. I did watch a great deal of it, and you know, the fact that I'm a stickler for tradition. I was dead set against calling the Cleveland Indians the Cleveland Guardians, and you know, and things like that of that nature. I think it's really, you know, 75-year-old baseball team. All of a sudden, you have a problem with it, and you got to change or tinker with tradition. Same thing with the Sonics. They've been in Seattle for how many years? Since I was a kid.
The 60s, James, since the 60s. You know, we had a basketball team in Seattle before we had a football team, before we had a baseball team.
Yes,
right?
absolutely. Yes, there were no, when the Sonics were around, when they first started, they were the Sonics for a long time before the Seattle Seahawks and the Mariners became a reality.
Correct.
You know, and of course, the newest team has the coolest name of all, the Kraken, the Seattle Kraken.
Yes.
Because I love Colin Murray. And yeah, so I mean, it's like traditional. It's tradition with Seattle. You don't do something like that. And does Oklahoma City have the population to support an NBA team?
That's a great question.
It's a rinky-dink city. It's not a major city.
So they have, this is according to Google, they have close to 700,000 residents. And what's interesting is Kansas City, which is actually in Missouri, has 500,000, and Tulsa has 400,000. So it's almost twice as big as Tulsa, Oklahoma City is. So it is the biggest. I mean, the whole population of the entire state of Oklahoma is 4 million. So 700,000, you know, it's about a third. No,
Yeah,
sorry,
I mean,
a quarter of the population.
I don't think Kansas City has an NBA team, do they?
No, they have the Kansas City Royals, the baseball team.
Yeah,
but they've been around forever, and they also have the Chiefs, who won the Super Bowl this year. Football team. They don't have basketball.
They don't have basketball. All right.
Yeah.
Now,
anyway, you're right.
Before I give you my take on the CEO of Starfucks when he was questioned by all the senators, and Bernie Sanders was yelling at some of the Republicans who were blatantly lying and trying to talk over him, and he got loud and tough, which I'm proud of. Now, for good luck with with us bringing back the no holds barred steel cage match format of progressive discussions, I have from my brother-in-law an authentic. Hold on, let me go. So, I have an authentic prehistoric megalodon tooth from a megalodon, which is the size of a school bus, much larger than any great white shark, the prehistoric megalodon. I like to take this tooth and twist it in a couple of foreheads of individuals that we know.
Yes, for sure.
You know,
James, is that authentic?
yeah.
That's got to be worth a fortune.
Absolutely.
Well, think about it. I mean, where else are you going to find one, right?
It's totally fossilized.
And this was given to you from a family member?
My brother-in-law has major connections. You can get anything.
You know, hold that up to the scale, like next to your face, because that is massive. That's a tooth. So think about how big the head, right?
This is one tooth, and you know how many teeth are in a shark's mouth.
That is insane.
Yeah, and a megalodon is a prehistoric shark. Yeah, it could probably, God knows what it could swallow without even chewing. You know, and you know, like I said, you son of a bitch, fucking.
Oh my God, I know, I know.
Narcissistic, egomaniacal son of a bitch. And the one who left my show early to go join the Booze Hounds, and he's always talking against the Booze Hounds.
That's right.
He joined the Booze Hounds, the Ronnie Simpson. Oh, we name names, son of a bitch. Anyway, that's our good luck charm, and it's very applicable, very appropriate. Former President Trump was indicted today. Oh, he was? Are you looking forward to the perp walk? You know, I didn't even know he was indicted.
That news just came out within the last 2 hours.
Well, they have a ton of evidence against him. My God. You know. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go back to now. Getting back to Bernie and the senators questioning this CEO who was going on and on about how generous his company Starbucks is to their employees, and about how wonderful capitalism is, and the prosperity, and sky's the limit, American dream, blah blah blah. Hey, if you're part of the top 2%, if you got mega bucks, you experience the American dream. If you're a corporate CEO with a golden parachute, and you're a multi-billionaire from being a corporate CEO, you can definitely have the American dream. But as far as the generosity towards the Starbucks employees go, and the starting pay of $17 an hour, and with benefits it adds up to like over $20 an hour. One of the senators says that is not considered a living wage any longer in this country today. $17 an hour with benefits is not a living wage. So the $15 an hour that Bernie was pushing for years ago, that's obsolete. That's chump change. So this shows you how rapidly the cost of living is skyrocketing for whatever reason. Could be greed, it could be other factors, but these wages are chump change. $15 an hour is now considered chump change. You know, chicken feed. And he's bragging about, oh, $17 an hour, benefits over 20, it's a value of over $20 an hour. If his company is so damn generous, Starbucks, with employees, and if people can really experience the prosperity of capitalism and the American dream, then how come so many Starbucks locations feel the need to unionize? These people have have the need to join a union. If he was so fucking generous, that's the point that I got from watching it.
The facts are, James, with regards to Starbucks, guess what Howard Schultz's net worth is? Just guess.
2 billion?
$3.7 billion.
That was close. And
that's
so how much? Yeah.
No, I was just going to say, you say 3.7, that's 3,700 million. Right?
So instead of how much trickling down do you think this guy who made it sound like he trickles all the time? How much trickling down do you think he does? I mean, his generosity, I think, is a bunch of bullshit. I mean, he was lying, just like the Republicans, of course, that were backing him and defending Starbucks. This proves that we don't need unions. You know, the company treats their employees good. The company treats their employees good. Yeah, that's why so many have to unionize out of necessity.
So here's the guy we're talking about. You would be smiling pretty big too, James, if you were screwing employees out of their money, right?
He looks like a freaking car dealer. He looks like a smiling car dealer and doing a commercial.
So this guy, worth 3.7 billion. He once owned the Seattle Sonics. He ripped the team from underneath us, right?
Right.
Do you know what Starbucks profit was last year? Profit. I'm talking about after they pay for everything, after they pay for basically every single expense that a business has, the profit. Oh, there he is. There he is.
The guy who talks against booze hounds, but he leaves my show early to go join some beer show without, he leaves the show with substance, with meaning, to go join a bunch of closet alcoholics. Thanks a lot, Ronnie.
So after every debt, after every bill is paid, 2022, last year, Starbucks put close to $1 billion in the bank. They had almost $1 billion of profit, James. And you can't tell me that these poor people, that these people that are on their feet all day, they show up to work. I mean, you think about Starbucks is open 24 hours practically, right? Working all the time under adverse conditions.
Yeah.
With no tips. I mean, Starbucks, the only way you can tip, I mean, I don't know when they're going to get around to doing this, but most places, when you pay for something, there's a line on the receipt that says how much tip do you want to leave. Starbucks, you just tap your card and you're done. You have to tip in cash. So these poor people, the guy's worth close to $4 billion. They put $1 billion in the bank last year. I mean, you're right, $15 an hour. I think back when $15 an hour was popularized and talked about, yeah, right? That's decent. That's $600 a week.
I knew. Well,
you
mean the gross?
Yeah, that's before any taxes are taken out. But
yeah, but then you look at how the cost of living, how it's skyrocketed with the costs of to live in a decent, in a safe neighborhood, what the rents are and the mortgages and then utilities, and I noticed the electric bill suddenly went up rather quick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, rather quick.
Oh yeah.
Now why? I mean, for a $6 cup of coffee, you mean to tell me people want tips? Why don't they just get a raise from this beaver tooth CEO? Why don't they just, I mean, it's not our fault that people are being underpaid, like waitresses That's another story. They're trying to investigate why food service oriented people, waiters and waitresses, have to get less than the minimum wage just because they receive gratuities. That's not fair, but it's not our fault, the customer, the consumer, to go after the damn employers.
I agree with you.
Go up to them.
I don't know.
Why are they, just because they get tips, gratuities, why are they getting far less than minimum wage? A waitress in a restaurant or a diner. The fucking, the Greeks that own all the diners over here in the New York metropolitan area. It's pitiful what they pay those waitresses. Yeah, but it's still, there's a federal minimum wage law. There's labor laws. They just need to be high. Yeah, they need to be like a Hooters girl. Yeah, I know, I understand. That's why they're so friendly. Like a go-go dancer, or you walk into a Applebee's, or it could be a Houlihan's or a Friday, and you got a greeter at the door kissing your ass. I told one of them, I says, I know you're being excessively friendly because your employer tells you to do this. And she says, what are you talking about, me? I said, well, she was like very melodramatic in the way she greeted me at the door. I like sincerity. You know what I mean? I don't like phonies. But it's not, listen. It's not our responsibility or fault that they are being stiffed for pay. Go after the corporations, the restaurant chains, go after the individual owners of the restaurants and the diners. Remind people that no one is above the law. And I just want to say, yippee ki-yay to Major League Baseball. Opening day has started.
That's right. Can you believe it?
Yeah. Houlihan's, Houlihans. Yeah, I don't even know. If they're still around. I haven't been to any of these places. They might have went belly up. But yeah, I just want to show this character over here, Ronnie S., the new good luck charm.
I love it.
This is an authentic prehistoric fossilized megalodon tooth. This is our good luck charm for the new format of bringing back no holds barred talk show, progressive discussion.
And just imagine that grinding into somebody's thick marijuana laden head.
Yeah, a person who is taking too many edibles every day, cannabis extract edibles. A very unreliable person that says, why did you switch the show to Thursdays? Thursdays are iffy. Saturdays are prime. Oh yeah. Saturdays are prime. That's why a lot of people do no shows. Saturdays are prime, right? Okay.
I think Ronald Terrio said it best, and we can all probably take a picture out of his book or page out of his book. If you say you're gonna do something, do it. If you can't make it, tell them you can't make it, right? But don't say, oh yeah, Oh yeah, it's prime, James, right? It's prime.
It's prime, and then he says sorry.
It's
He
prime.
he says sorry. Sometimes I can't make it. Well, don't let me know like a day later or 2 days later. Actually, he let me know a couple days later. Yeah, I've been to the ground round. That when I was very young, there was the ground round. But they were kind of. I don't like small hamburgers. I like places that make at least. I need at least an 8-ounce burger. You know,
Pre-cooked weight or served weight?
no, before they cook it.
So when they cook it, 8 ounces actually, because of the water and everything, that it's more like 6 something ish ounces.
Well, if it's good ground beef, I mean, I'll give you an example. The grass-fed Black Angus rough ground beef, 90, was it 90?
93%?
93% lean. Yes. Yes, it is. It's 93% lean. The other one is 85, but 85 is good for outside. For the
Yeah, like the barbecue, right?
yeah, because you want fat to drip down on the coals because
And it kisses the coals and then it flames up and it gives you that like crisp, like when you bite into a burger and it's a crisp, right?
Well, yes, you got that delicious crispiness, but also the flames and the smoke kick up and flavor the meat, the smoke. If you're using a good wood charcoal. Now,
like the one BC has.
like the one, yeah, or the one that that Alex, the beer masturbator, when he was worshiping.
He's like this. Remember, James?
Yeah,
Like
with the bitch tits, with the man
right.
boobs, you know.
He's like this, right? Oh, yeah, it's like.
Yeah, he was like he was worshiping the whole table. With the,
right, James? Like.
So what was I going to say? Getting back to the meat, meet and greet. No, it's it really doesn't shrink much. Maybe like just a tiny bit because it's 93% lean, and
That's true. That is true.
Black Angus. But if you get these fucking Bubba burgers, you know, these frozen patties that are in the frozen.
No.
Trash, garbage. It's loaded with water.
And it's the what I would call the unsavory cuts of meat, right? Oh, we're gonna, yeah.
We're trying it out right now. We're trying it out. So far, I'm happy. So far
It's good.
So far, it's really good. It's easier for Jason to participate on a Thursday in comparison to the weekend. So but I am. It's great that you can type commentary on the Sunday show. You know, the Red Pill Man Cave.
Yes.
Yeah,
I quite enjoy that. For the longest time, James, the Commodore wouldn't say anything. I don't know if he had a computer problem or if he just was a little bit shy.
You know what it is? He ain't shy. He's
allegedly working on a Sunday.
He's working, but he got so being that he's working, he's putting in so many hours in the accounting department, and he's been so dedicated because he wants to get that Canadian government pension, and he only has a few years left. He just wanted to have some fun. He decided, not to dummy up. He decided to participate, and
that's good.
Now he's talking, of course.
He's extremely. I want to put this in the most positive way I can. He's very opinionated and is very set in his way. Very much an old dog. If you try to teach him a new trick, it might take a while, right?
He's
very
like
set in your ways.
He's like a bunch of older generation relatives that come over your house for Christmas Eve or Thanksgiving, and they all get into a debate, and they won't change their mind. You can't reason with them. You can't, talk sense to them. They're set in their ways. He's set in his ways about, Yankee Doodle Dandy, American flag waving, the military's number one, American exceptionalism, number one, and John Philip Sousa marching band music.
Oh yeah.
And he loves Donald Trump. He's a Trumpanzee.
It's kind of funny that, from his own perspective, perhaps the most patriotic person that you've ever known he's living in Canada, right? Like, he turned his back on his country. I mean, have you ever kind of jabbed him, like give him one of these elbows off the top rope and said, if you love it so much, why'd you leave it? Right? It's his wife.
His wife is from New Brunswick Maritime Province, and he keeps on saying that he didn't want to raise his Down syndrome son in Boston because they would have picked on him. But, who's to stop Canadian kids from picking on him?
I don't know if I believe that story entirely.
No,
That's
you
start to, James, I know you can see through bullshit better than anybody.
You know what it is? Listen, if an excuse is feeble, if it doesn't hold any water, it's very hard to believe a feeble excuse. I just don't buy it. But I've known him for a long time. He's a good friend. When he comes down here, he insists on paying for everything. He treats me to everything, and
that is nice.
Yeah. He doesn't, let me pay for anything. But he's I just don't talk about politics with him.
That's one of those arguments that you would never, like, I've been there, right? I've been there and done that. It's best, to your point, because the second you bring it up, you might as well just zip your lips, because you're not going to get a word in, whatever, right? They freak out, and they start raising their voice. But we do have one thing in common. Actually, we have one thing in very deep common, and that's physical fitness and exercise. So that's how I met him, and that's what we talk about. We talk about health and fitness and exercise. And he did one half of his workout 2 Sundays ago. I saw some of that. That was extremely impressive.
Yeah, Jordy was, I don't know what happened to Jordy this Sunday, but Jordy was on the show from Scotland, and he was mesmerized by him. And I thought it was pretty cool to have him live working out on the show. But anyway.
Well, it's I mean, anyone can go into a gym, do some curls or whatever, maybe a little bench press. We've all done that. But the swinging of the clubs, like, he doesn't have a whole lot of room above him. Like, if he was to let go of that thing, it'd smash through his ceiling. Like, you've got to have extreme control over what he's doing.
Yeah, he would have to go outside, or you would have to. He goes to the gym too. It's it's not just. It's not just what he has in the basement and what he does in the living room.
Yeah.
But he is in training for, he has 2 competitive events that he's going to participate in. He's got a powerlifting event coming soon in the state of Maine, where he'll be doing the deadlift. Then he has the Vintage Strength Games in North Carolina, where he will be doing swinging the mace. And then the second day, he'll be competing with the Farmer's Walk and a couple other things. I don't know, flipping the truck tire, something like that. But the Farmer's Walk is like, you let's say you got a wheelbarrow in front of you and it's loaded with cinder blocks, and you get it off the ground and you walk across a room, turn around and come back with your
Wow.
with your arms straight. That's pretty much what a farmer's walk is, and you got to really train your forearms. I mean, you have to have forearms like Popeye to be able to do that. You know, because your arms are straight, and you're grasping the object, the handles. Well, anyway,
Yeah, that is.
yeah.
So
I'm going to go live with the events. Whenever they are.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I'm going to go live with the events. I want to talk about this gentleman here. What he did was, okay, he fought and defeated alcoholism, but what he did was he exchanged one addiction for another. He doesn't. The word moderation is not in this young man's vocabulary, and he kind of spilled the beans with me privately, and he is popping too many of those cannabis extract edibles. He's just taking an excessive amount, and it shows.
Well, for sure, James. The thing about that picture is that you're right. You know, you sort of are. Have you actually heard the term California sober? Have you heard that term before?
Yeah, California. In other words, you're sober as a Californian, but you're not really real sober.
So
it means you're high.
So let me share this with you. This is what I think he's doing, because he is living in California, right?
Yeah, San Francisco.
So this is the definition of California sober. I didn't just make this up. This is actually, but it's a trend called semi-sobriety, right? And effectively what it is you are not sober, because you are still using mind-altering substances, but they use marijuana in place of alcohol. So let me just highlight this for you here.
Well,
Some people,
before the legalization of marijuana, medicinal or recreational, years before, alcoholics would all of a sudden drink a massive amount of coffee. When they used to go to Alcoholics Anonymous, they're very addictive people. Like they can't not be addictive with something. So they trade one for the other. Yeah, that's it. So anyway, California sober.
Yeah, so California, it is kind of funny. You're replacing one addictive substance with another. So it is a slippery slope. So perhaps, James, it is and or could be what's happening with our friend who has admitted they have a problem. They do struggle with addiction. So perhaps they've traded one addiction for another.
Well, when I told him privately that he looks higher than a kite, he says, "Well, I don't think I look that high."
I mean, that's the funniest thing I've heard all day. James, you have pictures, and the picture that was just on the screen.
Well, the photos don't lie, do they? No, I don't think so. I can't be. Wait. Bring that other one up. And I'll say it while we're looking at him.
What'd you say there, James?
Yeah. When you're done with California sober, bring up his mug his mugshot again, and then I'll just say what he told me as we're looking at his face. Okay. Hey Mike, you better go easy on those cannabis edibles, man. You better take them in moderation because you look higher than a kite.
He's higher than a spy balloon.
He's higher than a spy balloon, and he's I can't be. I don't think I'm that. I don't think I look that high. I can't be that high.
I mean, James, my goodness, that is the funniest thing I've seen in a while.
You know,
That is hilarious.
you know, these people are in denial. I know that before many alcoholics actually seriously seek help, they say you can't do any intervention with them. They're like, I'm in control. I'm in control. I'm not an alcoholic. I'm not addicted. I'll be all right. I'm all right. I'll be all right. I'm in control. And then they hit rock bottom.
Yeah, you made it quite clear, James, that the community, right, with the air quotes, the community,
Yeah.
they have a hobby, but the hobby, right? Like I think you mentioned a certain individual that does taste challenges at 3 o'clock in the morning, right? But it's for the purpose of a hobby.
Yeah, I don't,
Right?
and I quote, I don't have a problem. It's a hobby. Okay.
Yeah, slippery slope.
It's a slippery slope. Now, there's an article. It's a West Coast article, and it's something that you might feel sad about.
Yeah,
killer whales, orcas have been dying excessively, and they didn't know why.
I'm going to step away for just a moment, but my headset, I can still hear you.
Okay, let me just. This is sad when, you know, any whale, porpoise, dolphin beaches itself and is dying. Let me just. Bear with me, folks. Bear with me. Bear with me, folks. Bear with me. Okay, bear with me, folks. Bear with me. Okay, why do killer whales off the U.S. West Coast keep dying? Chinese and American gene scientists have an answer. So, to cut to the chase, there's been an excessive amount of inbreeding with these orcas, but I want to find out why. Inbreeding among killer whales living off the U.S. and Canadian West Coast has kept them on an endangered list, despite more than 50 years of conservation efforts. A new genomic study by American and Chinese scientists has found the genetic threat, however, is not observed in other North Pacific orcas, according to the study published on Tuesday in the peer-reviewed journal Nature, Ecology, and Evolution. Huh, interesting. I have no idea why these particular orcas are inbreeding. I don't know. It's sad though, but it's very mysterious. You know, they have the whole Pacific Ocean to travel through, chase food, go where the food is, meet other orcas that are not related to them. And ooh, now this is pretty damn serious. As soon as you think that COVID-19, the pandemic, might be behind us, guess what? Mother Nature strikes again. Mother Nature says, I got something new. Humanoids, something new. It's not over yet. New deadly super fungus can now be found in half of the United States. Well, don't go by this. They look like plums or Concord grapes, but they're not. A fungal superbug called Candida auris is spreading rapidly through hospitals and nursing homes in the United States. The first case was identified in 2016. Since then, it has spread to half the country's 50 states. And according to a new report, infections tripled between 2019 and 2021. This is hugely concerning because Candida auris is resistant to many drugs, making this fungal infection one of the hardest to treat. Candida auris is a yeast-type fungus that is the first to have multiple international health alerts associated with it. It has been found in over 30 countries, including the United Kingdom, since it was first identified in Japan in 2009. It is related to other types of yeast that can cause infections, like Candida albicans, which causes thrush. However, Candida auris is very different to these other fungi and in some ways highly unusual. First, it can grow or colonize human skin. Unlike many other Candida species that like to grow in our guts as part of the microbiome, Candida auris does not grow in this environment and seems to prefer the skin. This means that people who are colonized with Candida auris can shed lots of yeast from their skin, and this contaminates bedclothes and surfaces with the fungus. This can lead to outbreaks. Lovely. Okay. Okay, well, most people who are colonized with Candida auris will not get ill from it. It causes infections when it gets into surgical wounds or the blood from an intravenous line. Once it gets into the body, it can affect organs and the blood, causing a very serious and potentially fatal disease. Okay, once it gets into the body around major organs and the blood. See, that's the problem. The mortality rate for people infected as opposed to colonized is a difference. With the fungus is between 30 and 60%. Oh, that's high. But a precise mortality rate can be hard to pin down as people who are infected are often critically ill with other conditions. Sounds like COVID-19. Diagnosing an infection can be difficult as there can be a wide range of symptoms, including fever, chills, headaches, and nausea. We have to keep a close eye on Candida auris, as it can easily be confused with other conditions. Okay, gotcha. You know, life is a struggle. Life is a struggle.
30 to 60% though, what was the, I suppose it's probably still being determined, but what is or was the mortality rate for COVID-19 in infected individuals? Less than 1%, I think, right?
Well, the people that were high on the mortality list were those that had specific illnesses already.
That's right.
That's
right. So if you had a predetermined condition,
asthma, hypertension, cancer, heart disease, whatever, if you had
if you were BC, which is like a miracle, right? The fact that like everything you just labeled times 10, and the guy's like, what the hell, right?
I don't know. I don't know. I really, is it the alcohol that's preserving him, like formaldehyde? I mean, he gasps for air when he tries to talk on a live stream. This pisses me off. I mean,
it's pretty bad. What's wrong, James?
No. Shit. No, I'm okay. I just want to show you. I want to show you. Talk about Republicans and how stupid they are. This has to do with North Carolina. North Carolina. Let me see how much I can get. Okay, more than pistol permits. Everything that's in North Carolina's new gun law. You no longer need to get a permit from the sheriff to buy a handgun. North Carolina's law also changes where you can take those guns and how you store them. Wait, let me see if this is about this stupid gun law that they want to they're doing. North Carolina
James, I'm hearing some serious feedback from, it looks like that dinosaur video you're trying to play on the PlayStation.
The override has passed.
There we go.
And this bill will become law, notwithstanding the restrictions of the governor.
With that override of the governor's veto, there is a new law about guns in North Carolina. The changes break down to 3 different categories.
Yes. So we're going to look at how you buy guns, where you can buy guns, and then how do you store those guns?
Let's start with the biggest change from the law, getting rid of the permit process for buying a handgun. The permit process has been in place for about 100 years. So to find out what that means if you go to buy a gun today, I sat down with Rockingham County Sheriff Sam Page.
You want to purchase a handgun, you would no longer have to come to the sheriff to fill out the paperwork and apply for a purchase permit.
So what steps would I have to do?
If you wanted to purchase a handgun from a federal licensed dealer, a firearms dealer, then what would happen is you would go to a firearms dealer and you'd say you'd like to purchase a handgun, and then they would do a NICS check, National Instant check through the FBI. Then they do that check on you. And if you pass the check, then they can make the sales.
What if I want to buy it from my neighbor?
Then again, if your neighbor want to do a transfer and you're not a prohibited person and that person knows you're not a prohibited person, then that neighbor could sell directly to you a handgun.
Without any kind of background check?
Under the current law. Yes, sir, as of today.
How do they tell whether or not I'm a prohibited person without a background check?
That would be the responsibility of the seller. You should know who you're selling to. Yes, sir.
What happens if a private dealer sells a gun to a prohibited person?
Then it would be in violation of federal law and state law.
And they could face what kind of penalties for that?
Well, it'll be a felony.
Well, thanks so much. I appreciate your time, sir.
Thank you.
I'm back.
Governor Roy Cooper originally vetoed this bill because he felt the changes to the process would create a loophole where some dangerous people could get guns. Here he is at a stop in Greensboro earlier this month explaining his view.
I think that this legislation that completely eliminates the permit for a pistol, which would make it easier for people who commit domestic violence to be able to buy guns, I think that's going backward. I think we need to go forward to try to reduce gun violence while respecting the Second Amendment.
On the other side of this issue, a spokesperson from the NRA says North Carolina's new law is a victory for the Second Amendment.
At the end of the day, we don't think that you should need government permission in order to exercise your constitutional freedoms. That if you want to buy a handgun to protect your family and have it in your home, you shouldn't need to go to the government first and ask for permission. So, removing that step, which we see as a burden and impediment to both, again, being able to defend yourself, your home, your family, but again, a constitutional freedom that you have, we just don't think you need to have the government there involved in order to execute that.
According to Giffords, a gun safety group that tracks gun laws across the country, this morning, North Carolina was one of 10 states that required a permit to buy a pistol. Now it is down to 9. Connecticut, Hawaii, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Nebraska, New Jersey, Oregon, and Rhode Island. The organization also says polling shows 68% of gun owners support a law requiring a person to obtain a license from local law enforcement before buying a gun. Important to note here, that is across the entire country, not just North Carolina.
Now, while that part of the law goes into effect immediately, there are other changes that we're going to see in the next coming months. For instance, beginning in July, non-sworn law enforcement employees will now be allowed.
Oh boy. What about all the lunatics that do not need a permit that just buy firearms? I mean, there was another school shooting. And another, and another, and another. Just goes on and on.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
It's really bad situation. That's all I gotta say.
It's terrible. Especially what happened in Nashville a couple of days ago. 6 people died. Several children. Just terrible. So James, who are the Yankees playing tonight?
I have no idea. I haven't watched any television today at all. I just I was
Yankees beat the Giants 5-0.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
On what, a Yankees opening day
today the Yankees. Yes, today the Yankees beat the Giants 0.
Were they in San Francisco or were they at Yankee
They were in New
Stadium?
York. They were in New York.
So opening day in New York was today.
That's right. And the Mets beat the Marlins in Miami 5-3.
So that was.
I know that Ronnie.
Yeah, that
we'll just call him Right Wing Ronnie.
Right Wing Ronnie.
He's a big Mets fan, right? So.
Yeah, apparently. You know, the Giants were, being that Aaron Judge is from a suburb of San Francisco, that was the team he was considered.
Yeah, everybody thought he would go there, right?
Go there, but
is he the highest paid player right now?
I think so. Yeah, he. I guess he came to his senses and decided he would rather be with a team that is always in the playoffs.
Yeah, you know, Aaron Boone is one heck of a manager too. His brother Brett Boone used to play for the Mariners back.
Really? I didn't know.
In the '90s. Yeah.
Who did Aaron?
He's kind of a.
Brett Boone. I remember Edgar Martinez and A-Rod and Ken Griffey Jr. when they were with the Mariners.
Yeah, they were back then. The Mariners were. Yeah, we had one heck of a team. In fact, in 2001, the Mariners won 116 baseball games, which I don't think a team since then has won that many.
Yeah, and then after the Mariners, I believe A-Rod went to the Texas Rangers, where
That's right.
He hit like 50 some odd home runs.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then when he went to the Yankees, he sucked.
Well, he did that, and then he also, when he got caught, James, cheating, taking a banned substance or a performance-enhancing drug, right?
like Sammy Sosa, Mark McGuire,
Barry Bonds.
Jose Canseco, Barry Bonds, Jason Giambi.
Oh yeah, Giambi.
I don't know about Roger Clemens. He looked kind of big for a pitcher. I don't know.
He looked very big.
Yeah, Clemens.
You know, if I was
with the Red Sox,
if I was to show you, let's see here. Let me see if I can show you this. See if I can figure this out.
Now
here,
I heard Oakland is a dump. I heard Oakland is
big time.
Is a shithole. You know, I can see the Athletics moving away from Oakland.
They are talking about perhaps moving to Las Vegas.
Yeah, but they're gonna run. Las Vegas is gonna run out of water. The future of Las Vegas and its population.
I know. I agree with you, but I also think that there's just no way the government would let that happen, right? Let's see here. Are you looking? Yeah, there's Barry Bonds. That's his rookie card, James. Look how thin that guy is there. Look how thin he is. Okay.
Yeah, I watched a documentary of him, and so he was with the Pirates. Now his father, I grew up watching his father play for the San Francisco Giants, Bobby Bonds.
Yes.
And then he went to the Yankees before he retired. Bobby Bonds was, look at the difference. Bobby Bonds was a slender guy. He was.
I mean, it's not even close. It's like twice the size, James.
Yeah, that's why there's like an asterisk next to his home run record.
He hit 74 in 1 year, right?
Yeah, and also, I think McGuire and Sosa hit surpassed also. I think Roger Maris's 61 home runs also, but the thing is, they were on the juice. There's Sammy Sosa, Chicago Cubs.
There's Sammy Sosa then, and Sammy Sosa now. It doesn't even look like the same person, does it?
Yeah, how did he get so light?
I think he had the Michael Jackson.
Yeah, Michael Jackson kept on saying it's a vitiligo. I got a skin disease. Vitiligo.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, vitiligo my ass. He was getting by plastic surgery. He was getting bleached. Clorox.
Terrible.
Vitiligo. Yeah. They're ignorant. They're all ignorant. Now, are you familiar with the Dominion? You know, the
voting machine?
The voting machines wants Tucker Carlson, Sean Hannity, and other Fox hosts and executives to take the stand at trial. And then there's a video here, but here we go. There's a list here. Suzanne Scott, I don't know, Fox News President Jay Wallace, Sean Hannity, Tucker Carlson, Maria Bartiromo, oh, she's a horse's ass, Laura Ingraham, Brett Baer, and former executive Bill Salmon, not spelled like the fish, and politics editor Chris Steyerwalt. Dominion also said it wishes to call to the stand Abby Grossberg and Fox News producer who filed lawsuits against the network last week that alleged network lawyers coerced her into providing misleading testimony. Yeah, they knew they were lying.
Oh,
Rupert Murdoch, he was avoiding the coming clean with the questioning. You know, he was like, yeah, they knew that Joe Biden won fair and square.
oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, that the election wasn't rigged.
What do you think is going to happen to that trial, James?
Well, I hope the Fox News ends up under a meteor shower and gets pummeled into oblivion. You know, I mean, people, like there's a video here, you know, people can say anything they want and make predictions, but no one really knows until the trial's over. And
where is the case being tried? Is it in New York State?
Let me see.
Where's Ronnie S? I think he was on here, right?
Yeah, he was. And then when we gave him a good thorough bawling out, he split. He split. When I had his number, he split.
The piranha.
I gave him, I twisted the megalodon tooth between his eyes and then lowered the boom and he vanished. Too bad. Oh.
What'd you have for dinner tonight, James?
I just had a couple of Italian sausages with on the 20 grain Dave's Killer bread and a Japanese sweet potato. I find that the flavor of the Asian sweet potato is much better than the American sweet potato.
Yeah, when I was a kid, parents used to make sweet potatoes all the time, and it's kind of like that mushy, you know what I'm talking about, the ones with the marshmallows in there, kind of like a Thanksgiving.
But you know why they put brown sugar and marshmallows? Because I did a taste test, not a Ronald Theriot taste test.
A taste challenge? You got up at 3 in the morning and you tasted a potato. Good, James. You got to do that. Think about that.
Not a whiskey taste challenge, but a sweet potato taste challenge.
I'd love it.
And let me tell you, the Asian sweet potato, which are consumed by all the countries over there in East Asia, they have a red skin and a sort of a light yellow interior, not orange like the American sweet potato. But let me tell you, they blew away the American version. The American version was bland. It was hardly any flavor. And the Asian one with the red skin, you can't miss it when you go into the produce section, was so much more tasty that that even if you didn't put any butter or olive oil or salt, it still tastes great. That's how good it was. But of course,
gotta try
put,
it again.
I put the Himalayan pink salt. I put either butter or extra virgin olive oil, and it really is. My sister, for Thanksgiving, she purposely makes some of the Asian ones for me because I won't eat the American ones. They suck.
Yeah.
And now I know why they cook them with brown sugar and sometimes marshmallows. All right, let's see what this jabroni has to say. Fuck them. I tried that 1 year and they gave me less money back.
TurboTax?
Compared to me doing it myself. Yeah.
It's all a racket.
Yeah.
It's all a
Hey,
racket.
look at me. I'm an expert. I'm an expert. I'm a professional. Michael Goldberg.
I can't hear the audio, James.
Oh.
I still can't hear it.
Okay.
It's not playing the audio.
Yeah, let me stop it. Let me stop it. If you can't hear it, it's well, we pretty much know what this is all about. We always knew that Fox was like almost like a satire, like The Onion or the National Enquirer. They were always accusing any source that criticized them of being fake news, but they were in fact the fake news. They were fake.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, they were fake, phony frauds.
One thing I would agree with Ronald Terrio on. Sometimes he mentions in his live streams or even his published videos.
Yeah,
I've got to go watch the lies. I mean the news.
well, I don't trust mainstream American.
He's automatically calling the news the lies.
Well,
let's just share this really quick here. We can.
Ronald was born. He was raised in a Democrat family, but he better
Oh, James, that's hilarious.
It's like Burl Ives. Holly jolly Christmas.
You bring that up. We watched that little what is it? It's Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, right? And one of those, I'm not sure if you knew this or not, but one of the little puppets from that show sold for an enormous amount of money at auction.
Really?
Recently. Yeah. Because what they did, like people just made it and they just threw the stuff away, right?
Well,
I think one of the camera people kept it.
What was that, clay animation they called it?
No, those were puppets. So they would like.
Oh.
Yeah. Let me see if I could.
Did you see the one who looks like BC? Have a holly jolly Christmas. Remember?
I remember that.
Yeah, it's yeah, he gets very defensive and nasty. You can't tell you can't try to help him. Once he jumped down my throat and someone else's throat, that's it. Never again.
Okay, James, I found the article. Let me.
Okay. No, by golly, of a holly jolly Christmas this year. Ching, 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 ching.
It just shows you.
Yeah.
Here we go. $250,000, James.
Wow. Oh, geez.
So apparently they destroyed these after the production, but like someone from the camera crew
Why
saved
would they
them.
Destroy them? I don't understand.
At the time, right? Think about it. You make something and you just say, all right, we're on to the next thing. There was really no conservation back then either.
So they had no idea that this was going to be like a nostalgic part of people of older generations' lives. Everybody who saw this as a new program as a kid, they during Christmas they just have to watch it.
Correct.
I mean, as primitive as it is, I like the Tim Burton stuff, to be honest with you.
Me too. The Nightmare Before Christmas is
that was
fabulous.
great. Oh, the Halloween, the world of Halloween was cool.
But this $250,000, James.
Wow.
That's life-changing money, right?
Well, if you don't piss it away, yeah, it can be. It can be. You can get yourself like an Adobe hacienda outside of Vegas, overlooking Area 51.
Look at this. If you look at what's going on here, she used them as decorations around her Christmas tree. She let her nieces and nephews play with them. Back in the 70s,
Back in the 70s, they had a Festivus Christmas tree, and an aluminum tree with an aluminum pole. I don't know who came up with that idea, but
anyway, I don't want to hijack this thing.
Yeah, people had live trees, and that caught on fire. The needles fell off because they weren't maintaining the water level, in the basin.
Yes.
And the leaves would dry and fall, and then the bulbs, they didn't have any LED bulbs back then. The bulbs got hot and burned your house down. Now, I want to get your opinion on something before I even bring it up. Former Treasury official warns of complete economic implosion if the U.S. dollar loses global reserve currency status.
I have heard that is it's already happening. That's what I've heard, and that could be devastating because right now the U.S. dollar is the world currency. But if these other countries move away from that, then yes.
See, right away they start talking about cryptocurrency and Bitcoin and all this stuff.
No, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I wouldn't. That sounds speculative to me. I don't know anything about it. I'm not gonna roll the dice. And yeah, so let's just banter for a little bit before you have to depart. Is it that your dinner is going to be at 7?
That's right. I was told dinner and be ready at 7. So I said, you know what? I'll just come on here a couple hours. Seems like we've lost the chat. So maybe
Yeah, well, 2-hour show is not bad. What I'll do is when you depart for dinner, I'll play the last. I think the last Jesse Ventura video was when he was on the Young Turks. Cenk Uygur.
He's a big guy. Like, I'm sure if you met him in person, his hands are like sausages, right? Like, he looks like a big guy,
Looks like a wrestler.
Yeah.
He's I'm surprised that they're still streaming on the web and he hasn't bought like a cable station or something.
You know what's interesting about him, James, is at one point in time he was a Republican. You were aware of that, right?
No.
I'll show you.
He came to his senses or something, Where's he originally? I think he's from New Jersey, is he?
He's from Turkey.
Oh, he was born in Turkey.
Born in Turkey.
Istanbul.
He went to the University of Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And Columbia University, right down the hill from you, right?
Yeah. Yes. Right.
So
actually, when I go down the hill and I look across the Hudson, Columbia is right in front of my face.
Oh, that's cool. You take some pictures. I know that when they made the movie Ghostbusters, Columbia University was kind of where they were based, right? So
yeah, no, I could when the
the
weather.
library is pretty famous, right?
When the weather's nice, there's Grant's tomb is over there. Columbia University. There's a new skyscraper going up there, but I'll take a.
That'd be great.
I'll take a few photos of it
so he's a Democrat from 2007 to president. So to present.
Yeah.
He was independent from 2000 to 2007, and he was Republican until 2000. Now you look at what year he was born. So he was effectively a Republican until he turned 30.
Well, what does he claim to be now? It sounds progressive to me.
Democrat. He's a Democrat.
Oh, he likes that fucking corrupt party?
But he was independent from 2000 to 2007. So from the age of 30 to 37, he was independent.
Well, he definitely exposes everyone who deserves to be exposed.
Absolutely. So I figured I would just share that with the viewers.
He's not part of the he doesn't march in lockstep to the oligarch, that's for sure.
That's correct.
Otherwise he would be on a major network. Right? He would be on a major network if he was well, he makes money off of the Young Turks. So he's a capitalist.
I wonder what his net worth is.
Yeah, for such a left-wing progressive, I wonder what his net worth is. Yeah,
they say he's worth 10 million. I could pull this up here.
Oh, no.
Yeah, let me show this
He's
for
a
you.
progressive that enjoys capitalism. Now, you would think that Ronnie would want to jump on, being that you're with me and everything. Nah, he never asked me. Actually, I posted the link. Fucking booze hound.
$10 million. That's pretty good.
It's pretty good for a progressive.
What's interesting is, right, people throw these 10 million, 100 million, whatever. Let's just say 100,000 a year. It'd take you 100 years to get to 10 million. It takes you 10 years to get to a million. It takes you 100 years to get to 10 million. That's a lot of money. So he's obviously.
See, I don't know if I ever mentioned my scheme or plan that let's say if I can wave a magic shillelagh and I won the Powerball lottery, I wouldn't spend 1 red cent on anything except I would lock it up in a tax-free municipal like money market fund, and I would live off the interest.
Yes.
Live off
Especially now with the interest rates going up when the Fed raises interest rates. That's pretty decent. I think that you could easily get 4 to 6%.
Yeah, I would arrange it so the interest is conveniently and properly direct deposited into my checking account, and the interest will go in there, and that is my petty cash. That is my spending money. I will anybody ask me, you know, any long lost relative plays the violin, gives me a sob story, I'll just say, sorry, it's all locked up. It's all locked up. How much you need again?
Yeah, here's 5 cents for a cheeseburger, right? I'll buy you a cheeseburger.
I will gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today. The worship. Oh yeah. Worship in the burger.
That's so funny, James. That is so funny.
Yeah, but
He was
anyway,
live last night for a little bit.
the megalodon tooth.
Anyway,
anybody who pisses us off will say you're going to get the megalodon tooth between the eyes. Grind it for good luck.
And if you ever see these people in real life, yeah, you'd need to shower after spending time with them. They're probably they probably stink that bad.
I'll put this this different type of Japanese jujitsu sleeper holds on them and put them to sleep for
And
lion.
then Mr.
For lions.
The Commodore will come over and with those hammers.
Oh, the Commodore. He doesn't like bullshit artists and people like that. Yeah, the Commodore is he came down several times actually to hang out with me, and I took him on the walkway along the Hudson River, and I showed him it's like a deck jutting out from the walkway over the Hudson, and that's a perfect place for him to swing his mace, you know, with Manhattan in the background, you know, and the fresh air.
Did he have it with him?
No, he only brought the Indian clubs. He only brought the 3-pound Indian clubs, you know, but he didn't bring anything heavy with him. Now, if he rents a car, I don't know how he drives so far. If he rents a car again, instead of flying, he should bring like his pride and joy mace made by a company called Adex. It is an adjustable mace where you can change the weight at the end. And he said it's very smooth. The swing is impeccable. And he should just throw that in the trunk. And I'll get my Sony camera, my HD 18.3 megapixel high definition, and I'll take videos of him, or I can just take my phone out and go live right on StreamYard.
Oh, that's perfect.
I can go live on, you know, I don't have any problems with the Android when I go live on the StreamYard. It's like that's what I use when I went to the all-you-can-eat the sushi. I used the phone.
Yeah, we miss watching those, James. Maybe you could do that again.
Yeah, oh no, I'll definitely be going back there. I just don't know exactly when, but yeah, I use this. I propped it up.
Or the Duck King, right?
Well, Duck King, I don't go there. Not that I don't like them. I like the owner. She talks to me a lot. I like the waitresses are friendly, but she raised their prices ever since all this crap happened in the country.
Yeah.
She raised their prices, so the boneless crispy duck, instead of being $20, is now $26 and change. Hey, That's a big jump. I'm
You know,
sorry.
yeah, first lesson in business is, kind of raise the prices gradually so people don't even know, right? So every 6 months you add another dollar. So yeah, you just don't wake up one day and say, oh yeah, we're going to go from 20 to 26. People will be like, eh. So she could have lost business by doing that, right? She's probably not putting any more money in her pocket than she did before, even though she's charging more. Her
Yeah,
portion,
you
yeah,
can't be penny wise and pound foolish.
right.
You can't. You can't shoot yourself in both feet. I mean, I know you're trying to survive under the circumstances, but you know, uh, uh, I mean, I just order from my favorite Chinese takeout and they deliver. That's it.
Yeah, that's pretty easy, right?
I mean, I don't get duck because it's not cost effective. A lot of these takeouts, they say by the time we cut the duck up, duck is bony. They tell me duck is very fatty. Duck is very bony. By the time you cut the duck up and remove the meat to make duck the crispy duck that's out of luck, they don't make too much profit really on the duck.
That's what she told you?
No, this is somebody in the takeout place told me, the owner of one of the takeouts.
Oh,
Says it's a big hassle for them to order the duck, cut it up, debone it, get it ready to make crispy duck, whatever. They used to make something called horseshoe duck, which I think is Cantonese, Hong Kong. Most of the restaurants are Cantonese people, from Hong Kong. I know Hong Kong is famous for dim sums, dim sum dumplings. And what's the other thing? My favorite, but the oldest Polynesian restaurant in New Jersey closed. They closed after all these years. Since I was a little kid, the Chan's Dragon Inn closed. And I used to get my favorite. I used to get lychee pineapple duck, which was crispy boneless duck sauteed or in like a sweet and sour sauce with lychee fruits and pineapple.
that sounds great.
Lychee fruit and chunks of pineapple in a sweet and sour sauce. Does your daughter have any songs that she wants me to play on Zoom?
Unfortunately, this time I'm being summoned into the.
Time to eat.
It is time to eat. So, James, I'm going to have to sign out here. It's always a pleasure. Thank you very much. Thank you. Seriously.
Let's do this again.
That sounds great.
This plan, I mean, this strategy, this format, obviously it works.
Absolutely.
It
Absolutely.
works. I got you for 2 hours. That's good enough.
Thanks to the chat. Tommy, let me go back to the names here. Starting with Bart Robinson. Bart, it was great to see you. Great to hear from you. Tommy Carroll. And then, as always, Ronnie Simpson. Hopefully, we can have you join us next time, right?
Yeah, and he's surprised we're here on Thursday. But you know what? Saturday is not the primo day that.
It's primo, James. It's primo.
Hey, it's primo. Yeah, iffy. Oh, what did he say? Michael Hill. Oh, Thursday is iffy. It's iffy.
It's iffy.
I think his brain cells are iffy.
Yeah, the gummies are. Yeah.
He's
anyway,
like
all right. Exactly. Yes.
With the funnel, the gummies are going in like Homer Simpson.
Swallowing. Exactly.
Homer Simpson. All right. I'll see
you. All
you.
right, James. Take care. Thanks again.
Have a good
Take care, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Well, it's me. I will play The Last Jesse Ventura. Well, before I do that, okay, federal government announce that the new round of updated COVID-19 booster shots are available this spring. Okay. I'll probably get my 6th shot. I mean, you would think 5 vaccinations is enough. This one, let me see. Let me try this one. Before I go to the Jesse Ventura, let me just here. Okay, this is scientists have just found an untouched civilization in the Amazon jungle. Really. And we have a video, so, you know, I could relax. Let me make sure it's here.
There are a number of places on Earth that remain shrouded in mystery, despite the best efforts of scientists to explain them. Some of these places are locations where strange things have happened for centuries, while others are relatively new. But one thing is for sure, they all remain a mystery. So from the largest monolithic structure in the world to the temple that contains mummies of bulls, today we will take a look at the 15 most mysterious locations that science still can't explain. Number 15, Kailash Temple. The Kailash Temple in the Ellora Caves of India is the largest monolithic structure in the world and a testament to the impressive skills of ancient builders. The temple is a stunning example of rock-cut architecture, intricately carved from a single solid rock. But even experts remain baffled by how the builders accomplished such a feat. Some say the temple was constructed by a lone artisan over many years, while others believe it was the work of a team of skilled craftsmen.
Actually, this is 15 archaeological locations. This is not part of the general format of progressive discussions. So I'm going to go right to the Jesse Ventura video with the Young Turks. All right, hold on. Let me start from the beginning. I just want to thank everyone for coming, for attending Progressive Discussions on this new day of having the show Thursday, because it allows me to have my co-host back again, back in action, Mr. Jason Cleveland, which I was very pleased to have him of Seattle, Washington, Mr. Jason Cleveland. So, all right, so we're gonna go with Jesse Ventura.
Yet another great guest for you guys here on the Young Turks, Jesse the Body Ventura. Look at this resume: professional wrestler, commentator, talk show host, actor. Just not a big deal. An underwater demolition team member. Okay, that sounds badass. Mayor, former Minnesota governor, current best-selling author. New book is Jesse Ventura's Marijuana Manifesto.
Well, you know what that tells you, don't you? I can't hold a job too long.
Well, you've got news about that today too, actually.
No, I mean, yeah, and it's true, because I've accepted the fact that I'm stricken with something called wanderlust. Mm-hmm. That I do something for, and it works out nice in politics because it's usually at about the 4-year mark. Mm-hmm. I was in the Navy on active duty for 4 years, then 2 in the reserves, of course. Mayor, 4 years. Governor, 4 years. So 4 years is kind of the limit for me, and then I start looking for something else to do, some other mountain to climb, some other hill to roll down,
So
whatever
Jesse,
it might be.
Jesse, I actually have a whole theory on that 4-year rule. So in my case, it's about relationships. I think that humans are not meant to be monogamous. We're not meant to be the opposite of monogamous. We are meant to stay together for 4 years. We have sex. 9 months, a woman is pregnant, and then about 3 years for the kid to grow up so that he can run away from the lions. And then we go into another monogamous relationship for another 4 years.
Well,
so I think your DNA
I screwed that all up then, because I've been married 41 years.
Well, you picked the right thing to stick with.
Yeah, that's the only thing I've stuck with. And people, it's funny, I got asked that question, especially if out here in LA, you'll get asked that question, how do you stay married 41 years? Mm-hmm. And I answered it simply, because not only is she my lover, she's my partner. She's part of me. I don't have an entourage. My wife does the computer. My wife has the cell phone. I don't. So she's a necessity for Jesse the Body Ventura, as well as the private life Jesse Ventura. And she's the person after 41 years who I intimately trust. Mm-hmm. And how can that be replaced? It can't.
Yeah, and I think that the people, the longer they stay together, the more they become a piece of each other. Because who we are is not really about our body, right? It's about our psychology, our mentality. Mm-hmm. And once you live with someone that long, you guys are intermeshed. So it's a great story. It's a wonderful story. Yeah. Look, we got. Of course, I want to talk about your book, and you got a new TV show coming up. I want to talk about that a little bit too, especially as it relates to election night. But of course, we got to talk about the election. So now I'm curious about your thoughts. You've been on our show before. I've been on your show before. Yeah. I'm pretty comfortable with where you stand on Hillary Clinton. I'm sure that you're not a big fan, right?
Well, I'm not a fan of Hillary because I'm not a fan of the broken down bribery system that the Dems and Repubs have created, and that she's a product of that system.
That's right.
And it's a system of bribery. It's a system of corruption. And to me, anyone who thrives in that system for the length of time she has to be comfortable with that corruption that is part of that system of bribery.
Yeah.
And so I'm not comfortable with her. Plus, to me, it's like, come on, between Bushes and Clintons, I thought we fought the Revolutionary War not to be governed by royal families. And now we have families, and now who's next? Chelsea?
Yeah, well,
is she down the road? She'll be president someday, following in mom's footsteps. And so that part of it irritates me, that there are other people capable of governing and running this country other than the career designated political choices that these two parties offer us.
So, a lot of progressives can't understand why people dislike Hillary Clinton so much. They're like, what? She's just a normal politician. But I think Jesse really nailed it there, which is that if you've been it's true, she's not particularly evil. She's not necessarily worse than all the other politicians. Yeah. But if you've been comfortable in this corrupt system for that long, it does say something about you.
Yes.
Right?
I can't do it. Like I do one term. People have often asked me, you could have been reelected governor for a second term. Why didn't you do it? And one of the reasons why, and I tell people honestly, being with Democrats and Republicans, which I had to be with as the independent between the two of them, I said their system is so corrupt that at the end of 4 years, the best thing I can describe to you, you feel like you need a shower.
Yeah.
Have you ever had one of those jobs where you worked at it as a young, and you come home and I need a shower?
Well,
that's what it's like.
Well, I had two of those jobs. I was a corporate lawyer, and I worked at MSNBC.
I have a history with them.
I know. So, and you're right about the Hollywood royalty. It's George P. Bush is literally getting ready. He's They got holding office in Texas. That's Jeb Bush's son.
Yeah.
They're getting them ready for the next round.
They're
It's
grooming
so
them like these are the only leaders we can find in this country. We're supposed to be a country governed by and for the people, not royal families.
Yep.
You know, as much as I respect the Kennedys, we've seen enough of them too.
Yeah.
You know, it's time for other people.
It's so frustrating. The only good thing that one of the royal families did was that at least they took down Donald Trump, because it was Billy Bush who was in those tapes with Donald Trump. But that's my take on it. I'm curious what your take on Trump is. We'll get to the Trump tapes, but overall, what's your sense of Trump?
Well, I think that I don't know what went wrong. Well, here's the thing people need to understand. The original Trump people and the original Sanders people wanted the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
One was just the far left, the other's the far ultra right, but they still wanted Washington cleaned up and disintegrated and started again, which is what I want.
Mm-hmm.
So I can relate to both, but they can't come together. That's why the status quo's winning, because they'll stay, because of the left and the right, they will never come together.
Yeah,
even though they want to accomplish the same thing, actually.
Yeah. Well, of course,
that's why Hillary will win, I think, and we'll have business as usual. Nothing will change. The war. See, to me, through all of these debates and stuff, the major issue's not being hit. And to me, that's the war.
Yeah. Yep.
We've been in it now for 15 years. It's cost us $1 trillion. We've accomplished nothing. And it's worse now than it was before. And I support who's going to get us out. I want out, and I want out now. Not 5 years from now, not a slow effect of withdrawal, because that's just lying, and then you'll bring other advisors in through the back door, and it'll continue for another decade. I want out now. And only Gary Johnson's assured me of that.
So, as Martin Luther King said, you're not interested in the tranquilizing drug of gradualism. And that's what a lot of the standard politicians offer. Just today on the show, I talked about how we fired on Yemen because we think they fired on one of our ships. Well, what's one of our Navy ships doing off the coast of
Yemen in the first place?
They're in the middle of a civil war that's got nothing to do with us. Why are we there?
So we can get into it.
So we can get fired upon.
Yes, and that way it justifies us entering the fray.
Yeah, yep. And so
it's all, you got to read Smedley Butler's War is a Racket.
Yeah, it was Smedley Butler, as large an American hero as maybe we've ever had, not just because of the book, but obviously his actions.
Two-time Congressional Medal of Honor winner.
Yeah, and preventing, a coup against FDR.
Yep.
I don't know, we love hero worship, right? We got all of our history books are filled with hero worship. Instead of worshiping a guy like Christopher Columbus, who, if you read his diaries, is one of the worst people that's ever lived. Why don't we find General Smedley Butler, who was a great general and a heroic general, and then stood up and saved the country when they wanted to do a coup?
And not only that, he goes against, he says war is what it is. It's a racket. We go into it under false pretense so people can make money. It's all about making money for war profiteers and the military-industrial complex. Hillary wants us all to disarm, right? Well, my answer to that is, Hillary, when you come after my guns, let the United States disarm first. We are the biggest gun dealer in the world. We sell weapons all over the world to kill people, and they're telling me to give up my Second Amendment weapons when my own government is the biggest weapons dealer throughout the world. Hillary Clinton, when I see my country not sell another weapon, then come and talk to me.
Okay, now that's why I love having Governor Ventura on, because we agree on things very passionately, and we disagree on some issues, including Second Amendment interpretation. But Governor, I would take your deal in a second. Disarm America, and not, of course, all disarmament, but like, let's stop going into wars.
Yes.
And then
stop selling arms.
And then let's do gun control. The deal.
Let's
deal.
stop selling arms. Okay, the thing on gun control. I live in Mexico. Gun control strictly followed there. You cannot have a gun. Yet they have 20,000 gun murders a year down there or more. And yet guns are banned. You can't, no, I got a level 3 protection dog because I can't take a gun. You cannot own a gun in Mexico. Strict gun control. And yet there's more murders by guns down there than there are here.
Well, no, per capita, we're number one. Don't mess with America. We're number one in gun homicides, let alone suicides, because our suicides are more effective because we do it by guns. And so if we get into a gun debate, I can pull out a lot of numbers on how we're killing ourselves.
And I can give you one, too, to think about. I was in the Philippines the day that Ferdinand Marcos became a dictator. I was there physically. And when he was there, the first decree he made as dictator, he gave the Philippine people, I believe it was 12 to 15 days to turn in all guns, or it was the death penalty. Now, my question is, why would a dictator make that his number one priority above all others? The first thing he implements on the country he's now the dictator of. No guns, turn them in, or you're put to death.
Okay, well, I'm going to counter with Australia then. There was no dictator. They had a mass shooting. They just did massive gun control. Haven't had a single mass shooting since decades upon decades, and no mass shootings. That's because if there's more guns, there's a lot of lunatics in the country.
True.
You know that, right? And they just grab a gun. And in Mexico, the real problem isn't guns or lack of guns or more guns. In Mexico, the problem is the war on drugs, which is what you write about in the book. So let's tackle that. I'll get back to the election, right? So why call it a marijuana manifesto? And what is the manifesto? What do you think we should do?
Well, first, let me explain why I got focused on it, because someone very close to me developed a seizure disorder. And I lost my quality of life because of it. I did. Because if you've ever dealt with seizures, they're horrid. And you're helpless when you deal with them, with the person who's seizing. They're a nightmare. And the person went on 4 different pharmaceutical medicines, one after the other. None of them worked. It was like nothing but an experiment. Well, we'll put you on this. Well, that hasn't worked. We'll put you on this. Everyone had a horrible side effect. In desperation, we went to Colorado. We got, quote, medical marijuana, 3 drops under the tongue 3 times a day. That was 2.5 years ago. And the person hasn't had a seizure since and is completely weaned off all the pharmaceuticals completely and is cured by marijuana. Now, that's what made me go, wait a minute. There's other people out there suffering, and our federal government is denying them and forcing them to suffer. Well, Jesse Ventura, the crusader he is now on the crusade to stop that suffering. I'm demanding full legalization of marijuana. When you learn about its history, if they lived today, Thomas Jefferson and George Washington would be raided by the DEA. They would be prosecuted and probably spending 10 to 12 years in federal prison as major drug dealers. Now, does anyone out there besides me see something wrong with that picture? These are the guys that wrote the Declaration of Independence, our Constitution, our Bill of Rights, and by the way, all made on marijuana, and Betsy Ross's original flag made out of marijuana. If that doesn't make it all American, what does? And the point is, this is an issue big. Where we talked about the Sanders people and the Trump people. Here's the issue. Over half of America wants full legalization, but our government's telling us no. This is the issue. We can rise up, tell our government this message. We're in charge, not you. You work for us. We don't work for you. And marijuana, we want it legal. And you're not going to stop us because you work for us. It's your job to provide what we want. And this could be the issue that could actually do it.
So I'm actually very hopeful that we're going to get the right and the left together, because as you know, I do a lot of interviews here. We talked to John Cusack last night.
Sure.
We had Dick Morris on a couple of days before that. I had the right, the left, everyone, right? And we largely agree, okay? The people who don't agree are the politicians. So there are many, many things we disagree on, of course, like we just talked about gun control. But that's normal in a democracy. You're supposed to have those debates. You're supposed to hash them out. But on marijuana, it's another topic like money in politics, like the war, that actually a great majority of the country does agree on. But our politicians won't let us have it. Why? Because those pharmaceutical companies that you tried first, your friend tried first, they got a lot of money to make, and they don't like something that's natural and doesn't cost a lot of money that actually cures the problem better.
It's even bigger than that. It's the government. Think of this. If the government could tax you for the air you breathe, they'd do it. So the government doesn't like you. And when I mean you, I mean us, the people. They don't want us getting nothing for free. They need a cut of everything we do. The problem with marijuana, if you legalize it, as my mother grew tomatoes in the backyard every summer. You could grow it in the backyard. Poor people would have access to it. They wouldn't have to pay pharma. They wouldn't have to pay taxes on it. They could grow it and use it themselves as they needed it. There's the rub. Follow the money. Just like when Deep Throat told Woodward in the bowels of the parking lot and all the president's men, follow the money.
Right. I actually think that that follow the money is absolutely right. There's no question about that. I think the bigger factor here is the money that the pharmaceutical companies are giving to the politicians.
I think it's also us rebelling against our government. The government's telling us you can't have it, and we're not giving in to you.
Yeah. And
we're in charge, not you.
In one of the states where they proposed medical marijuana recently, one of the giant pharmaceutical companies is fighting tooth and nail against the ballot initiative. Why? Because they're like, wait. That's much cheaper. That's an alternative. It works better.
And it can be free.
So, well, there goes their profits, right?
There's free. See, the government will get on board if the corporations get it. Like Anheuser-Busch with Budweiser. If the corporations get control of the marijuana, you'll see the government will say, okay.
Oh, yeah. All of a sudden it'll turn around right away.
But see, they don't want us to have control of it. You, the individual, because then you defy them. As I said, you don't have to pay them. You can grow it yourself. And poor people could get it. Just like, look at this horrible thing with the stuff for bee stings, where it was $20 for that injection. Now it's $400.
Yeah. You know why?
See, there's your example of big pharma raping and profiting. Whoever did that should go to jail.
Well, the CEO of that company is the daughter of a U.S. senator. So round and round we go.
She should go to jail.
Of course. But that's why she's not going to jail. And so to me, I look at, and I think this election is actually a perfect example of it. We've got two sides of this coin, right? We've got the corrupted, which is the politicians who've taken all this money to make sure they don't do anything that the corporations aren't happy with. Hillary Clinton is a decent example of that. And then we've got the corruptors, the people who are corrupting them in the first place. If you're corrupted, you got to get corrupted by something, right? Sure. And they're getting corrupted by all that money going into politics and sometimes their own pockets when they give the speeches on Wall Street, et cetera. Yeah. And I think Donald Trump is a pretty good example of the corruptors. So he went and whether it was Democrat in New York, Alan Hevesi, gave him $45,000, got like a giant tax break. I think it was around $150 million, right? I mean, that's a good deal, right? And so that's why they do it. And then he went and gave $25,000 to Pam Bondi down in Florida. All of a sudden, she stopped investigating Trump University. So my beef is with both of them.
Yeah.
Both of them. And you got to tackle both sides of that equation.
So let me ask then, why are you going to vote for one of them? Listen to Jerry Garcia of the Grateful Dead.
Mm-hmm.
He said, if you're made to pick the lesser of two evils, it means you're still picking evil.
Yeah.
Why do people want to pick evil?
I
There
can
are
answer
other
that.
candidates out there. And guess what? They can win. One of them sitting next to you.
Well,
and I proved it. I was polling 9% at Labor Day. I was allowed in the debates. See, when Trump says it's rigged, it is. It's rigged against any third person.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Completely rigged.
That's it.
And I proved that I was polling 9% at Labor Day. I was allowed in the debates. In 60 days, I was the governor of Minnesota.
Yeah. So
And they're not going to let that happen again.
So here's where context is very important, because I totally agree with you. You're an independent Minnesota, and getting in the debate made all the difference. I've been arguing from day one that they should let Gary Johnson and Jill Stein in the debates.
Yep.
It is 100% rigged. In this case, it's not a metaphor. It's literal. The two parties control the debates.
Qualifying? It shouldn't be this unattainable 15%.
Mm-hmm.
No, here's what should qualify you for the debates. Are you on the ballot in enough states to win the Electoral College? And if you're on the ballot, which both of them are, on a ballot, because Gary, I think, is in all 50.
Yep.
And I think she's in 40-some.
47, I think.
Something. Well, that means they're on the ballot. Theoretically, if they win of the states they're on the ballot, they will be the president. That should be the criteria. Theoretically, if you're on the ballot in enough states to win the Electoral College, you should be allowed to debate.
So the reason I brought up the John Cusack interview from yesterday is because, see, we talked about things that can and cannot be said. Why is Smedley Butler not taught? It's just a subtle thing, right? He's as patriotic as almost anyone that's ever been in the country, right? Right. But he doesn't help the war profiteers, so he gets written out of history.
Yeah.
So could we have a standard where you'd have more people in debates? Of course we could. We're just choosing not to, right?
Okay.
And the reason we're doing that is because the debate commission is no longer run by the League of Women Voters. It's run by the two parties.
Two parties.
And so, of course, they don't want you to be in the debates, because they're the only two that are allowed in. It's a monopoly.
Yep.
And so,
well, no, like Ralph Nader, the two-party dictatorship.
Yep.
I like the way Ralph described it, the two-party dictatorship.
Right. So, and 15% without them having the stage of a debate is a completely unreasonable standard.
Absolutely.
So I agree with you wholeheartedly on that. I agree with you. If you said 3 months ago, Gary Johnson or even Jill Stein has a chance of winning, I totally would have agreed with you, especially in this election. This
If
crazy.
they were allowed in the debates.
Right. So you asked me why would I vote for one of them? Because I think Donald Trump is a threat to the republic. And at this point, things could change, but at this point, Gary Johnson or Jill Stein do not have a realistic chance of winning.
Of course not.
So if they had a chance, then I'd say, okay, that makes sense. But I'm not going to risk the republic on hey, I know Jill Stein or Gary Johnson isn't going to win, but I'm going to do that vote anyway because I'm mad. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm going to get those guys anyway. I'm going to fight against Hillary Clinton. We're going to beat the establishment, but I can't risk Trump.
Well, then I don't think you're truly risking Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Because everyone that votes for an alternative candidate is like me. You're voting because you want that person to be president. And it's arrogant for people to believe that if I don't vote for that person, I would have automatically voted for this other person.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the old standard excuse the two parties, the losers, use to not to admit they lost the election.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no. Al Gore lost because Ralph Nader was in there.
Mm-hmm.
No, people voted for Ralph because they wanted Ralph to be president. It's that simple.
Yeah.
And it's arrogant for anyone else to think that had they not voted for Ralph, they would have automatically voted for Al Gore.
Yeah.
And that's not true.
So I agree with you that they're not entitled to a damn thing.
I have to live to my principles, and my principles are I vote for the person I most want to be president. I don't vote against someone else.
Yeah.
I vote for someone.
And I'm not the mainstream media. I don't yell at people. You have to vote the way I'm voting. Okay. Be responsible, be adults, whatever. You vote however you like. Obviously, we have agreements, disagreements. You're going to vote for Gary Johnson because you really, really agree with him. That's the other thing. there's a lot of things I disagree with Gary on.
Sure, I do too.
Yeah.
He's a climate change denier, but I also know him personally, and he's smart enough that he could have his mind changed.
The one thing that Gary Johnson's got to do is I know it's
I know what he
libertarian
don't
and
have.
stuff. He doesn't think we need to get money out of politics. That's crazy. That's crazy. Then you're never going to end the corruption.
No,
even if a third party
wait.
candidate was president, you wouldn't end it.
No. There's a way to do it and to keep it in, but there's an honest way to do it. You know how you do it?
Mm-hmm.
You make it full disclosure, and only the candidate, none of these other groups.
Mm-hmm.
So that way, no matter how much the candidate gets paid, the candidate has to fully disclose who the money came from. That way you as a voter then know, if I were to run for president, and let's say hypothetically Vince McMahon decided to give me $50 million.
Probably wouldn't give it to you.
He wouldn't, but let's use him as a good example. Yeah. Okay. Well, then in full disclosure, I take that money, but I have to disclose to the public, Vince McMahon gave me $50 million. So you as a voter then can say, okay, does he still have credibility with me accepting this huge donation? But see, the way it's set now, they contribute and no one's responsible.
Mm-hmm.
No one has to accept responsibility to disclose where the money has come from. So you either have to go one way or the other. You either have to do public financing or you have to have open, full disclosure. But only the campaign committee of the candidate can accept the money. No PACs,
right?
No outside TV. It has to come from the candidate's election committee. That way the candidate assumes full disclosure of every nickel he or she takes.
Right.
And then you be the judge. Right. Has he been bought off? You know, if somebody's gotten $500 million from Wall Street, well, then you as a voter can say, somehow I figure this guy might be loyal to Wall Street.
Not if you're in the mainstream media. They'll say, no, that doesn't prove anything.
But, but see what I mean? You either have to go one extreme or the other. Full disclosure. And that's what I think Gary's talking about, is because Angus King, the independent senator from Maine, he's for that also. Not for getting the money necessarily out, but for making full disclosure to only the candidate. Yeah. You make it that only that way the candidate has to fully disclose where every nickel he's running with came from.
So I think full disclosure is a minimum. I think that it's much better than where we are today. To me, it's saying, okay, I'm going to tell you who's bribing me. I'd prefer to end the bribery, but okay, I get it. It's better than what we have today.
At least make the candidate accept, instead of these ads that are put out where the real lying takes place, are these ads that are put out by the special interest groups. They're not held to any standard. They don't face any fines or anything for lying. They can do anything they want. Who do we have to thank for that? Our illustrious Supreme Court.
Yeah, that's right. So look, my idea is there's two paths to an amendment in the Constitution, because we got to go above the Supreme Court. Because the Supreme Court says, no, bribery is legal.
Yeah.
Corporations are human beings.
So you got to amend the Constitution.
Right? You have to amend the Constitution. And until our generation, every generation did it. So it's not like it's not doable, it's doable. And going back to George Washington and Thomas Jefferson, who you brought up, they were literal revolutionaries. So they built revolution into the Constitution. They said, you're supposed to do a revolution. You don't have to pick up a musket. You amend it. That's the revolution. Yeah. And so what nobody talks about is they say, oh, well, Congress isn't going to do it. Of course, Congress isn't going to do it. They're corrupt. There's a second path, because these guys were revolutionaries. They said, okay, they're going to get too corrupt in Washington one day. You can do it through the states. You call for a convention.
Yep.
And the beauty of the convention is then Jesse can come with his ideas. I can come with my ideas. We can all come, conservatives, libertarians, liberals can come and go, all right, let's figure out how to fix this.
Yep.
Let's figure out how to fix these damn elections, because we got to get back to free and fair elections. Otherwise, this mess is going to continue forever.
Oh, yeah. And I'm afraid to tell you, when Hillary wins, the mess will continue forever.
No. Let me tell you something. I know that for a fact. It's that I go in eyes wide open. People think, oh, you vote for Hillary, that means you love her. No. Look, Jesse, the people of Minnesota had a really interesting choice when you're running for governor. That is a choice most of us don't have most of the time. We usually have to vote for the lesser of two evils.
By the way, did you know I had to read off Hillary?
Mm-hmm. No,
when I
what's that?
ran for Minnesota.
What do you mean read off?
She came. And said some very derogatory things about me. She didn't even know me.
Oh, of course, she's supporting the Democrat in
and
your
you know what
race.
she said when she came there? She said that, okay, it's time to end the carnival show. And
they've been saying that for so long.
She alluded to me as a carnival show. And so when the press came up to me and said, how do you feel? Hillary Clinton came here and said it's time to end the carnival show and pick the real governor, because I was rising in the polls.
Right.
I said, well, that's fine. But I said, really, my advice to Hillary is this. I said, I really think Hillary should stick around the White House and not leave Bill home alone. Instead of worrying about what's happening in Minnesota, she ought to worry about what Bill's doing when she's gone. Because that was after all that stuff had come out.
Yeah.
And I got offended. She shot me. She wants to come take a cheap shot at me and call me a carnival show.
Yeah.
Well, get ready. You're going to get a shot back at your bow.
Yeah.
Because you know how Navy SEALs operate, don't you?
I do.
You know, we don't get mad. We get even.
So whether it's her shot at you, your shot at, but to me, the most interesting thing is, look at this. It's this. You want to talk about a carnival? It's the same show all
It's
these years.
embarrassing.
Now they're saying Trump's the carnival show, right? Which there's some merit in that claim, I think, right? But it's the same old trick. Anyone that's not part of the establishment, dismiss them.
Yep.
It's just, that's a circus.
The problem that happened, they dismissed Donald a year ago, and he won.
I know. You know,
and that's what's been stunning to them, and that's why you've got the Republicans defecting to the Democrats and all this, because they're so terrified of the change. They're terrified of the unknown. They're terrified of why Jesse Ventura scares them. Because when I come out with truth, people say they want the truth, but when you hit them with the truth, sometimes it disturbs their comfort zone, and people don't like their comfort zone disturbed. That's why I get heat, because I disturb comfort zones.
Yeah, and you've done that on a couple different levels. Let's talk about one of them, which is the mainstream media. And so you sued Chris Kyle's estate.
Well, him first.
Him first.
And then it
that's right.
automatically reverts to the estate on his tragic death. Yeah.
Right. And so American Sniper, and I've had a lot of choice words to say about him. And so people get mad at me for, he's a hero. Yeah, okay, he served. Jesse, you ever served with anyone that didn't tell the truth before? My guess is there's a decent number of people that are human beings that serve
in the
who
Navy,
don't tell the truth.
In the Navy, it's called sea stories. They have a term for it.
Yeah.
It's very well known in the Navy. It's called a sea story.
Yeah. So having nothing to do with your lawsuit, Chris Kyle was not sitting on top of the Superdome shooting random people in the middle of Hurricane Katrina. Of course he wasn't. That's an obvious lie, right? So there's so many things
Not
he
to
says.
him.
Yeah. So you sued him because he lied about you.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what the law is there for.
It never happened, and it literally destroyed my public career. Because I was off the grid at the time the story broke, living off the grid in Mexico. I couldn't defend myself. All I could do was Skype my attorney and bring a lawsuit immediately to stop it. And then I didn't return until May. And by then, the damage had all been done. I lost my television show over it, Conspiracy Theory, over that. I could not get any employment in the United States because of it. I was a pariah for defending myself, and all the time they portrayed it that I would, after he died, that I was going after the widow and the children, which wasn't true, because anyone that's written a book, in the contract, any lawsuits are handled by the publishing company, and they have insurance, and they have their lawyers to handle that. So the family was never in jeopardy of losing anything, and I wasn't out for money. I was out to clear my name. And he wouldn't do it when I met him face to face. He did, for all the courage he didn't have the courage to tell the truth.
So he had said that you had started a fight with him?
No, he said that what happened was we were there together. That event occurred. I was there because in the tradition of the UDT SEAL community, when every 100 classes, I'm class 58, well, I came to the graduation of class 158. That was back in about the year 1990, roughly, I think. And this was now going to be the graduation of class 258 tomorrow. So I flew out to San Diego to attend their graduation. So McPease is the watering hole for all the SEALs in Coronado. So the night before I went there, I met friends there. We sat at a table. Well, Kyle and his group were there also. They were there in a wake for one of their comrades who was killed in the Iraq War. And they were there for a completely different reason than we were. And they also had an $1,100 drinking budget. That they drank, their bill that night was $1,100 for the Kyle group. Do you think they were intoxicated?
Yep. And so what
my
did he say
group was
happened?
not. Nothing happened. I took pictures with people. Nothing occurred. The next day I went to the graduation. The graduation happened. The following day we had a get together Saturday on the beach of my class of classmates from old. And I went home. Never occurred to me. And then in the year 2012, this book comes out where he alleges that I said Navy SEALs deserve to die and lose a few. Now, why would I say that about my own unit? If I believe that, why would I be there honoring a graduating class? Makes no sense. He then said that I bowed up to fight him and that he decked me, knocked me down, and then ran so he wouldn't get caught. Well, in the trial, no one testified they saw me get hit. Not even his buddies could say it. Nobody testified that I said anything like that they heard me do that.
That's why you won.
That's why. And think of that for a moment. He's now gone and the trial automatically goes to his estate to clear my name. How overwhelming must the evidence have been for the jury to have sided with me over the widow of the dead war veteran? But they did.
And the jury didn't know that the insurance is paying for it. They thought it's coming out of the estate and they sided with you anyway.
No, but they did learn that because the federal judge allowed it in at the end of the trial. Because why? They did what was called poor mouthing, which is an exception. Normally, they don't allow the jury to know that insurance is involved. But if the other side poor mouths, if they get on the stand and say, oh, this is strapping me financially, when it's not, that's what they did. They led the jury to believe that I was hurting the family to lower so they'd win the case. Well, then the judge still wouldn't let it in because we appealed to him. They're poor mouthing, wouldn't still let it in. Finally, two people from HarperCollins, the book company, came to testify to diminish my role in the book, right? So I wouldn't get a big award. Well, at that point, they're the ones providing the insurance. At that point, the federal judge ruled it can come in limited now. That's too big of a conflict of interest. When they're the ones providing the insurance and they're here testifying to maybe change or lower the award. So what happened? It was 4 questions in an 11-day trial. It was a half a page of a final summation of 20 pages. And the appeals court overturned it on that and said the jury was poisoned, even though they admitted the award wasn't out of line. And that's supposed to be taken into consideration too. Now, when the award's out of line is when they award $140 million. I won 1.83.
So look, the case is interesting in and of its own right. The case is interesting because you've got two really big personalities that Americans know, you, Chris Kyle. So it gets a lot of attention. But actually, the most important part of the case is the appeal, because then the media companies
Came into the case
and against you
yes,
during
wanting
the
it
appeal.
overturned.
Why?
Because I won on defamation and what's called unjust enrichment, that they made money by defaming me, which they did. We proved in court. Do you know what Kyle's book sales was the day before he said what he said about me? 2,000. Do you know what the book sales was? It came out in the courtroom. You know what it was a day later? 100,000.
You mean when that controversy broke? Okay.
In one day, it went from 2,000 to 102,000. Pre-sale was 2,000, and then he comes out with this revelation that he punched me out in a bar, and it jumped 100,000. And HarperCollins went so far as they then continued it. They wanted it rolling. We got their emails. Just hot.
Look.
We got to, ride this.
Big time.
Even they never expected it was a niche book. It then soared to #1 on the New York Times bestseller list. Well, guess who the booster rocket was that took it there? What he did to me.
Right. And so, again, the media companies...
they even made it.
Oh. Rocket Paul, how you doing?
What's up, man?
Just finishing off the show with the last, with the Jesse Ventura interview, talking about how government works with all the scumbags and sleazy scum.
Oh, it's gonna go down, man.
Pieces of shit.
It's gonna go down, man. It's just beginning.
He was saying that the Democrats and the Republicans won't allow any third-party candidates or any other candidates that can get on the ballot because they don't want to lose their control and power. And years ago, they used to have 30 third-party people at the on the debates on television because the League of Women Voters were in charge of that. Now they're not. So they sabotage anybody else for being on the ballot. So let's say Paul Anthony Mantia became so mega popular that you're able to get on the ballot as an independent. Let's just say that.
No, thank you.
I know, but they will try to sabotage you to keep you off the ballot. So anyway, regardless of that, I really enjoy your new artistic creations. They really, aside from selling them as clothing, they should really be in an art gallery.
I just spilled something. Not good. Oh, shit.
Not good? You mean you spilled dye?
No, hell no, man. I spilled milk. Oh, God.
Milk? You mean milk is in real milk or?
Yeah, man.
Oh.
Fuck.
You know the old saying.
Always something.
Can't
Always
cry
something. Oh,
can't
man.
cry over spilled milk. Oh man, what was I going to say here?
Get your fingers.
Jesse Ventura's wife was having seizures, and then the doctors put her on 4 or 5 different medications. Nothing worked. You know what cured her?
Who was that? That was Ventura just now, or?
Yeah, he says she went to Colorado, and he put the cannabis 3 drops under her tongue 3 times a day, the cannabis extract, and she's cured. She hasn't had a seizure since.
Where you just had him on the show?
Yeah, that was recent. There's still a little more left, but his wife is cured. The
Wow.
medical doctors couldn't help her.
Where did he go?
He
left?
No, it's pre-recorded.
Oh, okay.
You want to see the rest?
I thought you had him on the show.
No, you kidding me? If I had
I'm
him
like, how
on
the
this show,
fuck?
if
Oh,
I had him
man,
on this
wow.
show, I would have like a squillion. I'll be going viral.
Yeah, man.
The Young Turks. Yeah, he's pretty good for revealing all the crap that's going on. I know they took his show off the air. Conspiracy theory. The government made the network True TV. They pulled him off of YouTube. He went to YouTube with all those episodes. They pulled it right off.
Yeah, he was talking about the concentration camps. But
Yeah, the FEMA camps. Yeah, remember that episode? The FEMA camps.
yeah, like in what was it, 20? I saw it like in 2014 or something.
With the barbed wire around it.
Yeah,
Yeah, talk to my wife for a minute. I have to take care of
Right.
the mom.
Caskets.
The freaking-
They had caskets. They had these like plastic
Yeah.
coffins, and then all of a sudden,
yeah.
next day they were gone.
And in Georgia, where they had funeral caskets, yeah, where they in Georgia, I don't know if it was in Atlanta or something, but it was in Georgia. And when I seen that, I was like, oh my God, is that really gonna happen to us? And then when COVID happened, I just remember that show, and I was like, holy shit, like it was.
Yeah, he
it was
did a show
scary.
about
Yeah.
HAARP, the government controlling the weather. He did a show about that. He did a show about 9/11 being an inside job.
Yeah.
He did one of those. He did a lot of them. He was talking about secret societies, and they actually filmed Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton going to a Bilderberg meeting, a secret society meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they were going in there, and that's not good.
Yeah, it sucks that that we don't have real life stuff like that out there no more. And we're just listening to bullshit. And now they're gonna take TikTok off, so we're not gonna hear anything that's real.
Yeah, but what
Or-
about all the people that are making a ton of money off TikTok? They're gonna be pissed.
Yeah.
They're gonna be pissed. But yeah, I've been watching a lot of Area 51 shows. I find that fascinating. Area 52, Area 51.
Yeah, those are good.
I know.
Daddy made a big mess for you.
Paul was laughing when he saw me. This is just a replica of the Clint Eastwood spaghetti western hat.
That's a nice hat.
Thank you. Yeah,
Very cool.
this is like the one he wore like when he made those movies.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
Here goes Paul.
I got a black leather one too. Not this, but a different, a little bit different. So Paul,
oh yeah,
you were
cleaning up the mess.
Are you gonna have an act when you really become like a mega celebrity? Are you gonna have like an action figure with your hair like that?
I don't know about coming a mega celebrity at 50 years old, man.
Mega?
You know?
Well, yeah.
I really don't care about fame and celebrity. It's honestly like you got to think of things like this. If look what's going on to all the celebrities now.
Yeah.
Look what's happening to the celebrity world.
No, I don't mean entertainment. I don't mean as far as music industry. I'm talking about the things you do now and the stuff you put out, the videos you put out there, you go live, and your product line. I mean, it's getting more artistic every time I see your photos and your videos.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
We're working on one now.
it's getting more and more and more artistic. That's a painting. I didn't know you paint. That's oil. That's oil on canvas, right? Yeah. No, I meant your abstract creations on your clothes. Your tie-dye. It's becoming more artistic. Yeah, I had Jason Cleveland on before for 2 hours. Now I got Rock and Paul. You never know. You never know what's going to happen on these shows. Let me check out this stuff here. Oh, wow. That looks like a roller coaster at Coney Island. Art gallery. The art gallery of the magnificent mantia. The magnificent mantia. The magnificent, you like that? The magnificent mantia is 21st century futuristic art gallery and fashion show of the future. Ooh, yeah, the magnificent mantia. Ooh, look at that, it's a UFO. What was that? Oh no, that's a lamp. I thought that was an alien visitor. Oh my God. Oh. Ooh. I think tomorrow I'll have organic spaghetti with white clam sauce. I think that's what I'm gonna have tomorrow for dinner. I have a couple croissants in there that I'm gonna chomp down on.
Wow.
Yeah. Hey, Oreo. Hey, you. Oreo. Look at the sad sack look on your face. What, you got depression? You got depression? You got anxiety?
Oreo, say hi.
Oreo is
Hey, hi, Oreo.
Is a sea dog. She's a salty dog.
Let's see what Oreo do for a treat.
She loves the ocean.
How are we gonna do this? Let's see. Got to be held this way because I don't have to flip it. We'll see what she does.
Her eyes are bugging out. She knows something's going on.
Oh, she knows, man.
She knows. She probably smells it.
She knows.
Hey, Oreo, you gonna have a snack? Well, she got a blanket wrapped around her.
That's her blankie.
That's her blankie. She's got her own blanket. No. I don't want nothing yet. She wants it. No, come here. Come here. Sit. You see, you know what I have, right? Okay, so let's see. We're gonna play that game first. Let's see. We're gonna play this game. We play this game. Okay, ready, Oreo? Which hand's it in? Oh, see how she knows, man. She can smell a mile away. Come on, sit. Let's see, let's see, she's on the bed, so it's hard for her. So, no, I don't want that. Give me 5. I don't know what else to make her do, but it's because it's hard for her to lift up on the bed. But
whatever. It looks like she got rehabilitated since you had her.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. What do you want? What are you looking for? I mean, look at the size of. Well, this bone was huge, man. This thing was like this.
She chewed it down.
You want this? How bad you want it? Here, watch. You see? See how gentle she is?
Yeah. When you got her the bone, was it one of those smoked beef thighs?
She got it for her. It was something huge, man.
Mammoth.
Mammoth.
It was a woolly mammoth's thigh bone, and then when she saw it, did she like go for it like ravenous?
No, she didn't like it at first, but then like when the top came off, because it had like a round thing on top of it.
Yeah.
That she ate that first, and then the rest of it she was going crazy for.
Yeah, I see them in the supermarket all the time, all different parts of the animal, and I think they like smoke them and put flavoring on them.
Yeah.
She's happy now. She got her treats. Spoiled brat. She is spoiled, man.
Yeah,
She's got a blankie. She's got, yeah, she's definitely.
She's saying thank you now.
That's
the way she says thank you.
When she sees that superintendent, does she show her teeth? Does she like snarl at him?
Uh-oh, she's getting crazy now. See, this is her toys. Heidi ho.
Mr. Hanky.
Mr. Hanky. My name is Mr. Hanky. Heidi ho.
Heidi ho. Remember when Mr. Hanky was getting sick because all the people from California moved to South Park and they were eating couscous and high fiber, and they were shitting too much into the sewer, and he had to come to the surface, and they had to put him in a cooler so he wouldn't melt, you know.
So let me ask you.
Yeah.
So what do you think about? There's a lot of shit going on, man. Donald Trump indicted today.
Oh my God.
It's honestly, it's the dumbest fucking thing anybody can do, man. Okay, it's dumb.
They're gonna make him more famous than ever before.
And you know what? Look, they allow people stab people in New York, okay, and the next day they're out of jail, okay. Think about this shit, man.
And what about all the UFO sightings? They're getting worse. They're getting like tons of them, more.
Oh yeah, we seen some shit. I posted it last night. We don't know what the hell that thing was.
When the weather gets mild, I'm gonna go down to the Hudson River, sit on a park bench with my binoculars, and then if I see something, if it comes in closer, then I'll have my my Sony, my phone.
Well, look, how old are you, James? Not to. Are you up there, man?
Yeah, August 1st, I'll be 65.
That's not bad. But let me ask you.
Yeah.
In your whole entire life, how many times have you seen the moon out in broad daylight? I mean, in the morning, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and how many times have you seen the sun out in the middle of the night, like 3 a.m.? We have it on video, though. I mean, live footage. So
that's weird.
People say it's normal to see the moon in the daytime. No, it's not, man. I never. When I was a kid, we always looking up in the skies, man. Telescopes. We never seen any fucking moon in daylight.
A couple times or a few times I actually saw the moon in the daytime, but of course it's not, it's not like it is at night, but you could see it that it's there. Of course it's got to be there even in the daytime.
Right.
But as far as the sun,
well, the thing is, you're noticing the moon in the daylight more though. Back then, I mean, why didn't we notice it back then?
You weren't paying attention.
It's not that. You would notice the moon out in the daytime. I don't care, man.
and why does the moon in October hang really low and becomes very like orangey yellow? I always wonder what that was.
Man, you know what? You're gonna find out things soon, man. The whole world is. You're gonna be like, what
the blood moon.
You know, just know that they all been lied to. You know, numerous amounts of times. You know,
You're gonna get
what makes people want to believe what NASA has to say, the government? Why would you believe these people? You know, have you experienced these things yourself? You know, if you haven't experienced that shit yourself, then, you know, honestly, I mean, because that's a little outrageous to me. You know, ET phone home? Oh, excuse me, sorry.
You mean like
Flat Earth?
people doctoring video and
Yeah, man, they definitely listen. We didn't go to no fucking moon, okay? We never went to the moon. We never went to the moon. We never went.
I want to show you my new.
Space doesn't exist. We live in a dome. We cannot leave Earth. You can't.
All right, let me show you
Don't
this.
you think? But real quick, don't you think if we could leave Earth, don't you think we could have fought? We all would have left already. Come on, man. Shit.
Okay. My brother-in-law gave me a prehistoric fossilized megalodon tooth.
Oh shit, man.
You know, like the shark that's as big as the school bus.
Yeah, man. I know what you're talking about. Shit.
Nice.
Look how big this. This is only one tooth.
Wow, man.
You should make it a necklace. Like a necklace.
You mean like the Hawaiians, like?
Yeah.
Is that a real tooth?
I wouldn't put a hole in this if it,
No.
you know. I mean, it's fossilized, so this is a good,
pretty cool.
and I could feel
That's a real tooth. That's a real tooth, James.
Yeah, I could feel that. You can see it. It's serrated on both sides, like the shark. They're serrated. Like you can even see.
Holy shit.
You can even see that it's serrated.
I mean, that's one tooth. That might be the smallest one. Shit.
Yeah, you know how many teeth sharks have in their mouth. I mean, this is only one. Oh man.
I wonder how many of those they have out there in the world.
There's a lot of undiscovered things. You know, the permafrost in Siberia is melting, right? The permafrost. That's why they're finding like woolly mammoths, perfectly preserved mammoths, and all kinds of prehistoric creatures with the flesh. That's why they're trying to clone them to bring them back. Yeah, the woolly mammoth they're gonna use an Asian elephant, a female Asian elephant, to bring that back. And the Tasmanian tiger. You know, mankind made these animals extinct because they're greedy scumbags, and they hunted them, they killed them off. There was a parrot called the Carolina parakeet. It was a beautiful bird. I saw pictures of them. They like the feathers to make women's hats, and they killed them off. And they're extinct.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy, man.
You know, these antacids, if you have heartburn, they're calcium supplements. They're like these 2 tablets. It's like 1,500 milligrams of calcium.
Wow.
Yeah. That's the only ingredient. I mean, the active ingredient. They're calcium.
Wow. So how long are you going to be on this show tonight?
Yeah, I'm going to probably close up and.
Yeah, because I'm going to get going. I'm not going to be on too long tonight.
Yeah, it's getting late.
I stopped in to say hi and bye.
Thank you.
You got the cowboy hat on. Billy Bob Thornton there.
Yeah, I got the black leather one. Is nice. But yeah, if it's like another time, what time do you usually come home on Sundays?
I'm home Sunday.
Because Sundays is I don't do any serious topic. It's all like whatever.
Everything. Yeah, okay.
It's all whatever, like minestrone soup. And it's we joke around. We have, there's more people on. Then if you want to show your tie dye, you won't be sleepy because it'll be like afternoon, mid afternoon or late afternoon. All right, Chief. Have a good night.
You too, man.
All right.
Take
Bye-bye.
care.
All right. I'm gonna end the show.
All right.
Okay. I just want to thank everybody for stopping by and joining us for Progressive Discussions. I thought it went well. On the Thursday time slot. And I just want to thank everyone collectively for being a part. Well, I want to thank Rock and Paul Anthony Mantia, performing artists. I want to thank Jason Cleveland, my co-host. Everybody. All right. Bye-bye. Sunday. Join me Sunday for Red Pill Man Cave, 3 p.m. Eastern Time on Sunday. Okay. And then I'll be on next Thursday for Progressive Discussions. Take care.